think we are live. We're live. We are live. Ah, yeah. Hopefully, first of all, you can hear. I know I start off most of my lives. Can you hear me? But please do let me know in the chat. So I know there's already been some people in the chat. So good evening. We've got Sean. We've got James. We've got Rich. We've got Sean, everything crafting, not Sean Abercrombie, but we have got Sean Abercrombie as well. Should have actually listed the full name, shouldn't I? What else we got in it? It's just us, and we've got Amanda just joined the chat. This is a little bit different. This is, as it says on the tin, and it has been something that I've been wanting to do for a very, very long time. But yeah, it's just one of them things. It is just one of them things. I'm not going to lie, I might look a little bit tired. I decided to have one of those afternoon naps. I started to I feel a little bit lethargic this afternoon, as did Sarah. And yeah, she managed to get a little hour in and I didn't. And then when she got up to start dinner, I then fell asleep and I've been up long. So yeah, thank you for being patient. It was nearly not happening. But yeah, today's live is literally just to set the scene and to create, hopefully, a little bit more transparency when it comes to myself, Maximus and Co. Because if you are new here, welcome. If you are a returning subscriber and you're part of the community that we are all in the reseller world, although I'm not so much these days. I try to be as much as I can, but all you lot are here from the reseller community, for example. So I'm definitely speaking to you guys in the chat at the moment, but there potentially will be some others that sees this video or this upload. So yeah, I thought I'll make it as inclusive as I can. But that's the other thing. It still might not make it. It might get taken down because we're still in this realm where I don't actually know if I can talk about some of the stuff that I want to talk about. Also, I don't even know if any of you want to talk about the stuff I want to talk about. But yeah, like I say, it's been a long time coming. What's that say? It's right, it's not my battery. What's the chat saying? Take them now, Sean. Take them now. I've just taken mine. So yeah, take them now. We'll probably have like an interval, say 10 o'clock, and then we can dose up again. I'm joking. I've got no interlude back-ins or cards or anything. So no one's answered my question. Anyone? What's the sound saying? Before we continue, I've got a beard rustling on top of this microphone, not to mention, you know, it's tucked under my jumper because that's the only way I can put it unless I hold it. But yeah, what we're saying, is the sound good before we continue? It's Saturday, isn't it? So it's boot sales as well. So that's what I did consider, because the majority of the people that I believe, I've even got a book. I'm that organised. Don't worry, it's not the Bible. It's not the Bible. It could be one week though, if you want to read the Bible. I'm interested. I've not read probably any of it, I don't think, since I was probably about, I don't know, 11, 10 maybe, because I was made to. I don't know. Anyway, I'm interested if you are. It's a conversation, and that's what this is all about. Good sound, James. I like it, because the thing is, right, to be fair, it's my fault. I bought her the Lego, but I bought Sarah some wildflowers, Lego wildflowers, because she liked the other Lego flowers that she got a couple of years back, and she's been doing that. And I said to her, I'm going live in about 10 minutes, rushing around getting bits ready because I've had my little power nap. And then yeah, I said, just you don't have to watch the whole thing, but can you just tune in just to check that the sound's cool, and then I can continue. She's yeah. Oh, she's come back. No. Yeah, she's carrying on with the Lego. There we go. Yeah, but I've got a little in this book, I've got a few notes, an agenda, just some little tick boxes that I just want to make sure that I get out, because yeah, like I say, it's been a long time coming. I will get to the chat properly. I'm not going to, Rich, I'm not on your level, mate. I can't go through all the chat. I'd love to, and I will at some point, but I just want to get a few things off, because if there's one thing I don't want to do is to go on all night, because I know a lot of you will be going to boot sales in the morning, as am I. I'm managed to persuade Sarah to sell tomorrow, so I get to go in early. I don't have to queue up like all the other civilians. I get to go in there early, set up, or help Sarah set up, and then have a little wander around. So yeah, that's what's happening. So we're going to keep it as short as we can, but I'm not just rushing it either. So I'm thinking, like, worst case, you know, it's probably going to finish about 11, but best case for you guys, or for me, I suppose, as well as you, 10 o'clock, we could be done in an hour. No one might want to talk about any of this. It might just be me getting stuff off my chest so then you can understand me a little bit more. So I feel like I'm being more transparent and true. So then I won't feel scared to talk or discuss about certain subjects, because we're in a world where we are so cautious of what we say. I am anyway, especially for my job. I don't know about you guys. I don't know you in person, but I do know that you only get to see a small dose of me. So I would love to be able to give you a little bit more and let you see and have conversations with around, centered around all different stuff, loads of different stuff. Not just reselling. That's if you're interested. You might not be interested, but look, we're entering that realm anyway. So welcome. There's 8 people in the chat, and I know a lot more people are going to end up seeing this. So yeah, I thought I'd do an introduction. I don't need to introduce who I am. If you don't know me by now, then, well, you don't actually know me by now. Even if you watch all my content, you still wouldn't know me by now. That's the point of the start of this live, if you like, and maybe some potential future ones as well. But yeah, I want to express and show a little bit more and talk a little bit more about other stuff other than just what you lot see, which is 9 times out of 10 the best bits. Whatever anyone puts on social media is pretty much always the best bits. So for what you lot see of anyone else that you watch, you know, you're going to see the best side of them, which is good. You don't want to be pummeled with depressing and negative stuff all the time. I get that, but there is other stuff in the world that's happening, and I'd love to be able to communicate and conversation and have conversations with you guys about it. But I do feel the need to put a little disclaimer out there first. And I need to express and stress that these are my opinions and my, not values, but my beliefs at this current time. That doesn't mean to say that they may change tomorrow. I might wake up tomorrow and feel completely different. Probably not, because, you know, this has been a long time coming and I've been wanting to talk about this for a very, very long time. But my mind does alter and it does change, and I do sometimes, you know, I've got an open mind. Let's just say that. I'm not just tunnel visioned on one idea. I like to open up conversations, have debates, healthy debates, civilized conversations. Yes, they can get heated at times, especially when we talk about some of the current situations that we've all been going through. Yeah, you've only got to look back 3 years. But anyway, disclaimer first. We'll get into that in a sec. Disclaimer first. It's my opinion at this current time. It's nothing to do with the company that I work for, nothing to do with the organizations that I connect with and link up with. This is just what I'm exposed to through, say, social media, through the ways and means that I find out news for my personal, not even gain, but just for me to understand it a bit more. Yeah, so it's a disclaimer. It's me, it's no one else. This is my opinion, and I might wake up next week and it be completely different. A year down the line, you get what I'm saying, right? Don't hold me to any of this, and if I do or have offended anyone or do offend anyone, it's not my intention. It's definitely not my intention. But I am guaranteeing you right now, there'll be people that watch this that are subscribed to me that potentially will unsubscribe when we get conversations flowing. So I'm ready for that. I'm not, like, you know, it is what it is. And I'm not in this to have this channel be massive, which is why I like put like 2-hour long videos up, because I get it. Yeah, it's not for everybody. Not everyone's going to watch them. Does it bother me? Not really. Is it for my benefit that I make these videos? Yes. Is it something for me to look back at when I'm older and for my family and stuff to share? Yes. Is it for you guys to share and want and to look at and, you know, enjoy? You know, it can be, but it's whether it is or it isn't, it's, you know. So yeah, I'm not worried about algorithms and trying to beat this and beat that. But what I don't want to do is get my channel cancelled or shut down, which is why I've not really spoke about any of this anyway. So yeah, stop saying that, Max. It's a tea pigs tea. I got these for Sarah for her birthday, and it looks like a massive bag of ganja, right? And apparently there's no silk or plastic in these. It looks pretty rank, but actually, right, mint tea. 10 of you lovely people in there. Thank you very much. And yeah, thanks. On that 2-hour video note, geez Louise, there was people, I think maxed out at 8 at one point, but there was a good solid 6 that watched that all the way to the end. So hat off if I had one. There you go. Hat off to you. because that was insane. I've watched it many and many a times, but yeah, I can watch it again and again and again just because it takes me back and does get me a little bit emotional. It's good to let out a little tear in there. Anyway, done my disclaimer. And yeah, same goes for anyone else that comes on here. Like, you got to hold your own opinion, hold your own values and stuff. We've got to understand that, we're not all going to see eye to eye at the end of the day. We're not all going to share the same values. We're not all going to share the same opinions. We're not all going to follow the same religion, if you follow any religion at all. Look at different races, ethnicities, genders. It doesn't matter. Let's just create a space, a platform where we can all have a discussion without people treading on eggshells or feeling like they're creeping around eggshells or whatever, just because they're worried they might offend someone. And that's where I've been for the last, well, on here in the community, especially because there's things I do want to talk about because I care about, especially now that we've been away. Rich, James, I've actually connected with you two on a level, but there's other people in here. I haven't met you, but I feel like we're on a level where I've connected and I've watched videos. So we're on that deeper level where I feel like I know you a little bit, like you feel like you may know me a little bit. So there's care and worry and concern. It's right, I'm not going to cry. I'm not. It's not. That was a bit of dinner. I rushed my dinner, like I say, I had a nap, and it's all rush. This is why I couldn't do what Rich does. And shout out to Rich. I know you're in the chat. We'd be watching his Saturday Night Live, and I thought, right, I spoke to him yesterday. He said he weren't doing one. I'm just going to jump in. I can't commit like he does, which is why I couldn't do YouTube full time. I can't commit every Saturday or every Friday or whatever it is. I just couldn't do it, and I wouldn't want to let you down all the time. I bet I nearly missed this. All right, anyway, what was I saying? I've done my disclaimer. I need this because I've got a memory like a sieve. Not just that, James will know what I'm on about. If you suffer from, well, I say suffer, I don't suffer, I get paid for my ADHD. It is my superpower, but it is hard work at times, and I can have 1,000 things floating around in my head, and I'm trying to solve every single one of them. And then, like, boom, something could happen, and then I've got another 50 things in my head that I'm just thinking, oh my, that is, James, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I took a leaf out my dad's book and started making notes. But yeah, reason for life is, I've told you, I want to just be a bit more transparent. I want you lot to be a bit more transparent, a bit more open-minded. I'm not saying you're not, but I want us to be on a deeper level in that sense. And I would like this to be an ongoing thing once we get the ball rolling, if I can ever get through this first one. Shout out Lindsay and Alvin, to see you pop in. But yeah, open conversation. I want guests to come on. I want it to be healthy. I want debates. I want to obviously always referring back to sort of, we call it the boundaries. We do this at work, sort of, understand that we are not all going to see eye to eye, but we can actually come on, hold a conversation, and just try to find a middle ground. And even if we can't, you just separate your differences or put your differences aside, and then we go on. And I've got a blurry camera. I don't know, I'm going to get a better picture because I moved. Anyway, right. Reason for doing this, and why am I doing it now? Why didn't I do it last year, 2 years ago? And if I want to be brutally honest, I could have, I've been thinking this way, and it's not that it affects my life, everyday life, but there's things that I wanted to speak about, say, and I did speak about to a very few set of people, but some of the things that I know I would have liked to have spoken about 10 years ago, didn't speak about them back then, haven't spoken about them since, really, not online anyway. And that was all through fear mongering and people outing you or saying that you're a nutter and blah, 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 which I get, right? Because when you talk about conspiracies, for example, and other stuff as such, that's the stigma that surrounds conspiracies, and a conspiracy is something until proven, right? So it's just an idea. It's a thought, it's an assumption. I don't know, you could break it down in loads of different ways, but there's many as conspiracies out there. But yeah, these were all very much conspiracies, and you start talking about them sort of things. And this isn't all I want to talk about before you tune out. This is just a little tipping. And it actually stemmed, Lindsay, Alvin, yes, on your live the other night when we stayed up and you lot were drinking a tinnies, you started talking about, I'm going to use code words because although I feel safer to talk about this stuff now, I still don't want it to get you know, shut down or suppressed or whatever. But yeah, you start talking about the Rona and, you know, the old thingies that you get and all that sort of malarkey. And that's just another thing that I'd love to dive in and talk about, again, through concern, worry. And I don't want to create fear. I don't want to push my beliefs on anybody, but I would love to share my concerns and my reasons for concerns to anyone and everyone that I feel may benefit from that. And even if that is losing friends in the process, because I look at you lot as friends, we've not met yet, but look, you're tuning in, you're supporting me, man. Oh, mate, I can't believe I'm doing it, man. The thing is, yeah, I used to, I still could, right? Still could affect my work, right? And that's the thing. Another reason why I don't want to talk about it is because I feel imprisoned, like in such, like in a way that it's mental. It's crazy. Because the chances that they probably won't, but then it only takes one person to go, oh, have you seen what he's doing? Rah, rah, rah. And I could literally, there's things that potentially could, you know, so I've got to be very careful. Even though I do feel safer to talk about these things, I've still got to be careful. So code words, I think I made a note of that somewhere. We'll use code words or something. Yeah, that sort of stuff. I want to talk about things like that, fear mongering. Anyway, like I say, 10 years ago, there was bits that I was tuning into or finding out things about, getting laughed at. You know, a lot of people were still believing or witnessing the stuff that I was seeing and seeing the stuff that I was being shown and fully believing it. And it was probably affecting their lives in a negative way. Maybe they're trying to change too much. I don't know. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is a lot of that stuff now has become fact, right? We're living in it. And I'm not even joking. When I say 10 years ago, I was watching documentaries and conspiracy theories, and they've happened, right? We're living and breathing in them now. The reality is here. It's like, so what? The people that were the tin hats back in the day were all nutters. No, yeah, some of them are nutters. There's a lot of nutters out there. There's probably some nutters in the chat now, eh, Sean? But it is what it is. And it's like, right, so that's all been proven and that's actually happening now. Yeah, that's cool. So what do we do with that? Oh, not much. But here we are. Is it going to stop? Are we going to start seeing the things that I was watching or other people have been watching? Because I'm not the only one. I'm not going to sit here like I'm a flipping woo. I've got all the answers and stuff, because I'm not. I've just got an opinion. I've got my assumptions. I've got my gut feeling, and I'm going to ask you lot to just fully trust your gut feeling. Like, it's an early warning sign, and this is something that stemmed back from, like, you know, your cave people times and fight or flight and freeze and all that stuff. Like, it's there, it's built into our body, into our system. People, not everybody, because there's people that don't believe that you should trust your gut, but I'd say 9 times out of 10, man, you want to be trusting your gut instincts, right? Just saying. So I'm going to ask you a lot to be doing that, because a lot of this does center around that. And like I said, I'm not going to try and push anything, but I would love to sit here one evening, get together, because I've got nothing ready for this, but I could get together a couple of little montages or clips of stuff that I've seen and that I believe or I know have happened. We all know have happened, and it'll be like, you know, you can break it down yourself, or even talk about some of those things that are conspiracies nowadays and people are getting cancelled for or shut down for saying. If you look at things like 3 years ago, if anyone was talking about Rona or thingies or anything negative about it, or the fact that it could have been staged and this, that, the other, you know, you're cancelled, you're losing your business, people got arrested, people were outcasted, people were shamed, people lost friends, families, people were attacked on planes, and oh man, it's just crazy. And I get it. No one was in the wrong. You had people doing what they were doing, whether that was complying and doing everything that was being asked of them, and it was all through fear, right? And then you've got everyone that was doing what the others were doing for whatever reason, and do you know what that was generated through? Through fear, right? And you know the patterns, man. It's just, there's a lot of people out there that already know this stuff. I watch a few other guys on YouTube, and they often drop some little hints and stuff. There's a lot of people that are, as Russell Brand would say, awakening, and he's someone that I'd encourage people to tune into. It gets a bit too much sometimes, but there is a few videos that I'd recommend watching. Rogan. There's other ways to inform yourself with news. Trusting mainstream media, I think, is a no-go, and that's something else I'd love to talk about. But yeah, and the reason why I feel a little bit more confident doing it now is just because, one, I've got this book, and this book makes me feel really powerful. It says, to my dad, it says, so much of me is made from what I learned from you. I may have outgrown your lap. I may have outgrown your lap, but I know I will never outgrow a place in your heart. It doesn't matter how far I go in life, I will always be your little girl. Thank you for your love and support. Love always. No, I love you always and forever. Look at that little fist bump. That's cute, isn't it? Got that from Mia. Yeah, no, there's a lot of people talking about it. And again, something spiked my confidence in speaking about it when I see more and more big figures talking about it. Yes, Porky, more and more. Gwaz, what are you saying? Not just people that were already talking about it, but you've got like just people coming out and just openly saying it now. Big names, and they're still alive, which is cool. But they've actually, I say don't watch mainstream media, but I've seen snippets from a mainstream media platform or a few mainstream media platforms that I think it was on Russell Brand's channel when he was talking about it and breaking it down. And they're actually talking and pushing the narrative now that, you know, exactly what all these tin hat wearers were pushing. They're now like diving into some of these and investigating some of them. It's like, well, that should have been done ages ago. And actually what now it's been proven that actually happened. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous is what it is. It's frustrating. It's hard for me to not get too passionate, and I don't want to get passionate tonight. I want to invite some people on just to have a conversation in a bit if they want to. I know, James, if you're still about, I know you want to get some listing done, man. But yeah, you're more than welcome to jump on. I did make some notes. I just lost my page when I was showing you. Let's have a look. No, I didn't make as many notes as I thought. Let's see, I was half asleep when I've done this. Oh yeah, no, I've just got a nice little ending, little conclusion, because I've got to be careful, like I say, because of work. And you know what, if it does happen, you edit it first and it'll be gutting, and I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get through it, because I'm not going to be that guy that's going to be trying to do this and trying to do that. I'm not trying to change the world, although it'd be lovely. I just want you to have the best opportunities, the best life, and I don't want to feel like there is something potentially like, you know what it's like, something you got a feeling something's going on, something, but you can't prove it, blah 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 blah. And there's people you care about, you really want to tell them, like, but you can't because you might get outed, you might get shamed, all that sort of stuff. And then something bad happens, or something bad's happening, and everyone else is just you know, like the dodos just walking off the edge of the cliff. And you could have stopped 50% of them walking off that cliff. That'd be great, wouldn't it? It would be great. I'm not going to say I'm going to do that, but if I could maybe at least get people to start asking more questions, and at least, yeah, having a confidence to sort of speak freely, because we apparently have freedom of speech, but we haven't, let's be real. And this will be the closest that I feel I'll get to freedom of speech online until things change, but I don't know. Andrew Tate, for example, another one. I didn't have him in here, but he just popped up. I'm going to ask Sarah to grab something. She's still down there doing the Lego. Not someone I'm going to say I back 100%, right? And if you break it down, I don't know if you're aware of Andrew Tate. The reason I say I don't know if you're aware, I went to go look at a car with Sarah yesterday, a little runner, little 1 litre, it's a little like under a, I think it's cheap anyway. Quite an old lady. She's not don't want to drive anymore. I was talking to her and her son, and I hadn't heard of him, right? And I'm like, what? He's just been on every social media platform. Right, anyway, you guys will probably know of him or have heard of him, and you'll have your own opinions of him. You'll have your own views of him and all that stuff. Yeah, I'll give you mine. I didn't know nothing about him until I was away in Greece, and then just all of a sudden this geezer's popped up all over the show. Done a little bit of digging. Say digging. The algorithms fed me, you know, when I fell down like that rabbit hole after getting sunburnt on the beach and going to lie in the hotel room when we was on holiday. I fell down a rabbit hole, and it's just every other video, every reel, every short. It didn't matter whether it was Instagram, YouTube, whatever, he was there. So yeah, obviously I'm going to find out a bit about him. I put some time into watching the videos, and there were some messages that I fully agree with, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but I can tell you now, they wasn't negative, they wasn't sort of offensive, they was just motivating and things that would, you know, they had good meaning, and I could see why a lot of young people, a lot of blokes, or even older blokes would aspire to sort of, or be motivated by that. But then you got the other 50, 60, whatever percent that he puts out, and it's like, what the hell did he just say, man? You can't do that. Me being me in the job that I'm in, like I've had to be conditioned in a way that, yeah, I swear when I'm out and I'm doing my own thing, no one at work's really watches this, and I try to keep it as kept quiet as I can in my areas and stuff. I keep my YouTube fairly hush. But there's always that danger. But yeah, it's like you can't be saying that, and I get it, right? People can clip certain bits that he said. It can be twisted in a way to be used like propaganda and all the rest of it, and to make it look like he's saying stuff he's not. I get that, and that's another thing I want to talk about. There is fake. There's AI systems that can generate people's voices. You can make people. You can turn yourself, morph your face into somebody else's face, whether that be a celebrity status, whether that's like a president or, whatever. You'll be able to do it with other people's photos as well. So you can literally get set up for anything these days. That's the realm we're entering. Another good subject. Scary. A lot of this stuff, right, that I want to talk about is scary. And I know that it's ruined some people's lives just knowing, right? Just understanding a little bit deeper on a deeper level. But it'll only do that if you let it do that. See, there's not much that you can do. So you can only take control of what you can take control of. And that's enough to be able to live a nice, sustainable, like enjoyable life. There's nothing that scary. It's going to be all, oh my God, this Max is talking about all this stuff. This is doom and gloom. There's solutions at the end. And there's things that we can do just to sort of get away from this. And you might think like, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to know about it. But I think that we need to, just because we're not doing that no more. And before we know it, when you look at AI and you look at robots and all the rest of it, if we're losing the ability or the willing or the motivation to even communicate and have conversations about X, Y, and Z, or whatever it may be, maybe it might be about the 20-minute communities or the 20-minute neighborhoods. I'm not sure if any of you heard about these. Watching a video yesterday, again, a lot of this is fed to me, and at the minute, the stuff I consume I believe is to be real. That's my opinion, but it could be in the next week or two, or some of the stuff that I've already seen is actually AI generated, for example. It's crazy. It is crazy. It's scary because there's uncertainty, but we've seen that through the lockdowns and all the other stuff. But yeah, it is scary. It's scary if you look at it from a point of view that it's scary how quick we can fall apart as human beings in a sense of, look, we all got locked away pretty much, didn't we? We had everything taken away from us. We had all of our rights taken away from us. We we lost loved ones. We weren't allowed to see our loved ones. People were falling down, and we can go to we all done that, and we were stripped back, and that's only going to have a knock-on effect, and we haven't even seen the impact of what that's going to do to people. I'm someone that gets to work. I'm lucky enough to get to work with thousands and thousands of people year in, year out. If you look at a yearly scale, it's 1,000 students that we'll see, and we see from year groups to different year groups, and then there's adults and stuff as well. And in the work that I'm in, before lockdown, I was seeing a decline in social skills like communication, listening, employability, confidence, self-esteem. It was literally like I'd be at, and this is not just schools, this was like schools, colleges, universities, places of work. Very lucky. For the last 7 years, I've been doing an amazing job. Something else that you don't really know too much about, and I do try to keep it separate, but I'm very fortunate, very lucky, but it does bring and bear much weight at times, because we are talking therapies and we run sessions and workshops that are designed to talk through any situation, scenarios, topic, theme, whatever that may be. And over the 7 years, we've delivered many of different varied sessions, from mental health and well-being, employability, basic stuff like team building, team bonding experiences, budgeting, finances, anti-bullying, which we're doing most recent one, self-defense, loads of different stuff, all designed to give people a bit more confidence, better social skills, just opportunities and resources to make better decisions, basically. If only I could embed what we do to others to myself, it would be amazing. And if only, as I said this to a tutor the other day, I was in this school, I can't say too much, but yeah, in this school, and obviously speak to a lot of students, and this, we've done an assembly on this anti-bullying campaign, and this headmaster came up to us at the end, and he's like, did you do that? I've been telling them this stuff for years and they don't listen. They just don't listen. And there's like 200 kids in this year group, all just sort of listening. And it's, I get it, right? They don't listen to him because he's there every day. So I couldn't be a teacher. I'm not qualified and I wouldn't be able to do it. I just wouldn't. Again, take my hat off to any tutors out there, any teachers within education. I've seen what it's like, and it makes it hard for me to back Sarah, for example. And we've had many of our arguments when she's complaining to staff at school, schools, especially my kids' school, for good reason. I mean, I get it, and from a parent's point of view, I get it. But then I see it from the teacher's point of view, and I get that also. And when I work, I've been in. Me and my colleagues are in. We've been in loads of schools: Bedfordshire, Hertfordshire, Cambridgeshire, Essex, Birmingham. And when you see, well, when you get to work in that many schools or get to step foot in that many schools, you see a pattern and you can see how stretched they are. And I genuinely take my hat off to tutors. I couldn't do it. I've been offered many jobs in schools and I've refused every single one of them because I couldn't do it. The time that I spend in schools is enough, right? Let's just say that. But yeah, having this opportunity, again, it's another thing where I feel like I'd love to express my views and my opinions, but it's not about me when I'm doing these sessions. But I feel like I'm restricted, and I feel like it'd kill me inside if I found out that people that I've worked with in the past go on to do something that I knew potentially could have been happening, or it's one of them ones. It's like I was literally in schools and colleges and was doing these events. This is just one example. Man, if you want to come on, the link's in the we've got any guests? Sorry, I was meant to say, if you do want to come on, the link's in the description. It's in the description. Where's the guests, if there is any guests? How do you do this? Yeah, so I think it'll pop up if someone comes on. Yeah, me and my brother was at this college, and I'm not going to give any names. Yeah, I'm going to come to the chat. I'll finish this little sentence and then I'll come to the chat, because I've just seen a comment from Sean. Not that the other comments aren't important, but it's related, and I've got to remember that if you're in here watching, I've got to keep you in tune. And like I say, jump on if you want to. But yeah, so again, you might be up for this, what I'm about to say. You might not, but I certainly wasn't, and I'd love to have expressed how I truly felt about what this guy and this woman was doing. But anyway, now that we know there was commission made, there was a lot of money made through and a lot of companies profited, a lot of big companies profited, and people that we know, that we was listening to on a regular and putting our trust in, listening to their guidance, like Hancock and his missus, and his sister, or whoever it was that has also got dibs in all that sort of stuff, Gates and them lot, big names. But anyway, we're in this college, and we're delivering these sessions, and there's sort of like 45-minute sessions. So we had a lot of breaks in between, 15-20-minute breaks in between, and we had about 7 sessions to do throughout the day. So we had a lot of breaks, and there was other organisations there. Police were there was paramedics were there. You had a couple of other youth organisations. There was a couple of other universities and stuff, sort of like a recruitment event. There's a couple there, probably, I think they were paramedics or something, but they were pushing out or rolling out the old and they were trying to encourage these students to have it done. And there was a lot of resistance. People didn't want it done. Not they weren't making them do it, but the way that they were trying to get them over to do it, it was embarrassing. It was literally embarrassing, frustrating, because they are pushing something that they, didn't have much research on and all the rest of it. And now you're looking at all the sudden cases of people just, especially young men, 25 years old, mental, the amount of heart attacks that's happened. It's crazy. But yeah, they were pushing it out, and they was getting like groups of lads were walking past. They're like, "Oh, boys," this geezer was going. And he's like, "Can you come and have your jab?" And they was like, "No, mate, I'm all right." You know what I mean? They were allowed to say no. They're allowed to say no. And he's like, "Oh, were you scared? Were you scared?" This is like a 50-year-old guy, whether he's just an NHS staff or flipping I don't know what he was, but he was rolling out and they was doing them there on the spot. And he called up to me and Jack, and he was like, lads, what are you saying? And he looked at us and I'm just like, anyway, yeah, it's something that's happened. It's been and gone. And people have had it, and it's not to say that if you have, it's a bad thing. I'm not going to say if you haven't, it's a bad thing. I'm not here to tell you what is good and what is not. But again, it's now being proven, and there's investigations being made, and there's certain types of that thing that was made that have now been discontinued or been pulled back. And it's like, hang on a minute, before we start putting all our eggs in one basket, ask the questions, find out the facts, and have open conversations, and actually get some understanding on what else is going on around the bigger picture, before we start following and losing everything that we have done already. And because you know what, it ain't too far away. I'm not saying it's going to happen again, but if it's been this easy for this control, because they're looking at it like a ways, it's been spoke about online recently that it's been leaked that it was one massive, experiment, if you like, to see how much control they had, for example, over us. And yeah, it worked quite easy, which is scary, but yeah, it is what it is. I can't think if James is waiting. James, are you still in the chat or are you listening? Because I can't see him. I can't think.
I dropped it.
You dropped it.
Are
you being serious, Sarah? You can't do this to me. I'm on live. She's dropped her Lego. Was it finished? Oh no.
I went to put it on top of the fireplace, and I literally just dropped it.
Where? What is it down there on the floor?
It was. I've just put it all there, but I can't put it back, babe. I'm too. I can't.
Leave it. We'll do it in a bit. We'll do it. We'll do it live and do it. You only spent all day on it. What's the audio sound anyway, Sarah? Is the audio sounding good?
I haven't even looked.
I didn't think you had. I thought I didn't think you had, Sarah. Don't worry about it. What are you saying, Mark? Who we got in the chat anyway? Let's have a look. Great video last night. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Should have a little look through the chat. I don't know if there's any guests waiting in the lobby. Let me just quickly check. Present invite. No. Oh, geez, there's a lot of people in here. Man, I've been waffling. Sorry. I don't even know what I've got. So I've got notes in there. I've gone past some. I don't even know if I've covered bits that I really wanted to say. I don't even know what I've said. Shout out to, we said hello to you guys. Hello to you, Paul. Stu. We've got Stu in the building. Good evening, Stu. We've got Lindsay and Alvin. I said hello to you too. We've got Mark. Yes, Mark. I did see your message. I was asleep, man. I fell asleep. I'll send you my PayPal. I said that I was willing to give them things away to someone that's starting out. No one get in touch with me, but Mark did. Mark got in touch. So I'm sending them little doggies, Amanda. The dogs that I brought onto your live, the hounds that was going to take down, what was they going to take down? Hulk Hogan. If we went to war, that I won that war, or the dogs won that war. Not necessarily the dogs, but me, or the policeman's truncheon. But yeah, another thing that I see, this is like 10 years ago, and I've got people that will back me up on this. So one of my best mates, I haven't seen him for years. I work with his sister. I've worked with her for the last 7 years. He's real close. He's my best mate for years, since we was flipping, like running around, since we was walking. And we got back in touch sort of when I had kids and stuff. I sort of just done my own thing. I stopped going out. I used to be a rave. I used to be out. I was one of the most sociable people you could ever meet, and that's all stopped. You know what I mean? And it ain't a bad thing. It's a good thing. I lived my life. I lived a good life, a good part of my life, doing the rave scene, doing the things I shouldn't be doing, losing the brain cells, socializing, meeting new people, all that good stuff. But yeah, anyway, he come round about 10 years ago. Mason was about 3, maybe 2, 3, so maybe a bit longer. And we fell down a rabbit hole watching loads of conspiracy stuff. And this was all typically like Illuminati stuff. And I don't know if everyone's familiar with that. And again, that's something that I looked into and we got sucked into for time. I'm talking not just that night, that evening, I'm talking time. Like my colleagues were talking about it. I'd go to work, people would talk about it, and people still do talk about it. My kids come home and go, did you see the news? I'm like, oh, what do you know about that? Anyway, they think they know through TikTok, and that's, you know, no better than what I learned. I learned it through YouTube and stuff. But yeah, we fell down this rabbit hole, and he could not stop watching it. So Dave couldn't stop watching similar sort of stuff, and I don't think he does anymore. But the things that we watched, you know, one of them, part of the documentary that we watched was about a fake alien invasion. This is 10 years ago, right? 10 years ago. And this is why I just have to laugh. Like, because again, I didn't lose sleep over it. I didn't even watch the program thinking, oh my God, that's scary. That's going to be mad. I didn't believe it was going to happen. I didn't watch it and go, I watched it and I was like, that could easily happen. It's believable. I get it. That could happen. Like when you watch some movies, like you relate because it's like, no, I can see that happening. That's true. I could see that happening. But yeah, this was like about an alien invasion, and the government were going to stage this. Different governments were planning it and been doing it, and the fact that they've been doing and building these UFOs and stuff, or fake UFOs, or they're taking me out a picture that they know what I'm talking about. Yeah, they we're going to start staging all this stuff. What's he say? Brain cells are overhead, Max. There is little you should not be doing if you're an adult and are only doing damage to yourself. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That is true. That is true. My grand talked about it back in the 90s, and now I know what she means. Yeah, it's true. Hundreds of years. It goes back centuries. Why is my... Oh no, the light's running out as well. That's no good, is it? Let me move this a sec. Yeah, mate, some of this stuff's been spoken about when you do the research and that. And again, I'm only taking, the thing with me, I can't actually hold information that I don't think is relevant to my everyday or to what I've got my focus on, if that makes sense. So when it comes to like taking in all that information, it's never going to happen. It's just never going to happen for me. It just won't. So I can't. I'd love to remember a lot of it, but I can't, and I won't. It's just simple. It's just never going to happen. But I remember fractions, like particles, if you like, of it. But yeah, this documentary, it's probably still out there. Have a little search. But this documentary basically said that they're going to be doing this, and they're going to do it again to put the fear in. And it makes me wonder: are they going to do that because there wasn't enough fear generated from the pandemic? If it was staged, if it was what people are saying it was, and all the rest of it, right? Was it not enough? Did they not get enough people on board? I don't know. Are they going to now start trying to put the fear in through other life forms entering our atmosphere, our planet Earth? Is that how they go? There's been a lot of talk. If people would have spoke about UFOs 10 years ago, 20 years ago, they'd have got laughed at. Many people, especially in America, were arrested, were locked up, put into asylums, put into institutions, drugged up. Me and Sean know this because we escaped, didn't we, Sean? Not Sean's everything crafted. This is Sean Abercrombie, didn't we, Sean? That's what happened. Is that right? But no, it does. It did. And now they're talking about it on the news, and they're talking about all these objects that are coming in randomly, and they're shooting them down. Is that just actual stuff to put fear in us? Now, I'd be gassed if we found out there was other species coming onto this planet. I'm open-minded to the fact that there could actually already be other alien forms or other beings on this planet. Let's be open-minded. There's a whole culture out there that believe truly that there's lizard people, reptilians and stuff. I mean, that's a whole different level. But again, it's not for me. It's not for me. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not saying they don't exist. But I've got no input other than what you could probably find online, and that's just loads of bits that could be real, but then me being into editing, I could look at it and go, well, they've just tinged a bit of green on the skin. There's stories of Bieber, there's stories of, who was it? Justin Bieber, someone else on a plane, getting off a plane or something and like turning half into this, I don't know. But I do believe that, when you look at like the conspiracy with the musicians, the artists, Michael Jackson, I'd love to have a conversation on that. I want to know your opinions on that. Oh my days, she's an alien. Sarah, you dropped your Legos. So she tunes in now, doesn't she? How long we've been on? Nearly an hour. Nearly an hour, and she tunes in. Is the audio okay, Sarah? How's the bonsai tree? I forgot, I didn't tell the audience, I got a bonsai tree Lego, or we got her a bonsai tree Lego set, and then the wildflower bouquet. And she's just dropped it on the floor. She spent the last 2 days doing that, bless her. Yeah, I'd love to have a conversation on the Michael Jackson story. I mean, I am not going to sit here right now and say I didn't jump on that wavelength of file. I'm not going to say it because it's another word that you can't say on these uploads, and that it's not worth it. It just won't. Your video won't get out, and I'm not too worried about it going to the masses at this point. But especially if people start. Don't listen to me, listen to other people that have more knowledge. Listen to the experts that go on Joe Rogan's podcast. Instead of tuning into the news, the mainstream media and the radio on a daily basis, listen to a Joe Rogan podcast. Search a topic that you're interested in. If it's current, it's current. If it's not, it doesn't matter. There's Elon Musk ones. There's ones from 2 years ago that have little key nuggets in. Like, it might be a 2-hour pod, but there's a 10-minute nugget in that could change your life. Right? Stop consuming. If I could do anything, it is to get you lot just to be a bit more open-minded, in a sense that you're just going to stop believing and consuming the things that are fed into your brain, into your eyesight, into whether that's through TV, through smartphone, through radio. Break away from it from a bit. Have a break. I'm not saying, if you don't want to completely give it up, don't do it. I'm not going to make you do it, but just give it a go, and maybe just have a little look at getting your news from elsewhere. Find out where experts in that field are actually going to be doing talks on, whether that's rallies or Russell Brand's podcast. He's on Rumble, he's on YouTube. There's a Norwegian guy I watch called Bijan, Talking with Bijan or something. Lives out in the sticks in like a log cabin. He's got his head screwed on, like, and he's talking about facts, and he brings up a lot of the conspiracies that I was talking about and shows how they are actually happening. Put your trust in actual doctors that are willing to give up their time on YouTube. Dr. Campbell, if you are not following Dr. Campbell, fuck's sake, people, why not, man? Why not? Dr. Campbell, I think he's retired, but he's a G, and he talks about the evidence, talks about the science, talks about the facts. And if you look back at his videos at the beginning of the lockdown, he was saying exactly what lots of people were saying, but he has the credibility, he has the knowledge, he has the qualification to actually speak on it. And he was cancelled, he was demonetized, and now he's back, and he's managed to creep back up into the atmosphere, but his videos were suppressed. Thanks, babe, you alien. His stuff was suppressed, but he's had many people on his. I guess again, Dr. Campbell, just make a note of it. Just it's not to scare you, because he's not out there to scare you. He's had vaccines. He's done the rest of it. You know what I mean? But he's got his head screwed on. He talks about actual ways that we can look after ourselves and why. People were saying about herd immunity and all that stuff way back in the day, and then they got slammed for it, and then it's like now they're talking about it being a bloody positive thing. So it's like, if we were able to have these conversations back then, why couldn't we? And how much better would it have been? God, that's better. That light's died, so I need to just focus this. I can't see if James is in. I think he's left. He's gone to do some listing. NJ was okay. I don't believe all that stuff. Yeah, mate, exactly that, Rich. So let me try and get focus back. On the Michael Jackson one, yeah, man, there's a wicked, I think it wouldn't be hard to find. It wouldn't be hard to find, I don't think, on YouTube. It's a fairly long one. It was a good couple of hours. I don't know why it's gone blurry. There we go. Bring back the focus. Sorry. It's blurry for a bit. It'll come back. Yeah, this documentary on Michael Jackson. So it's like I say, I jumped on the wagon of, thinking he was legit doing what they were saying. But if you look in look at what he went through, and that the fact that he was stripped from his childhood. He didn't have a childhood. He was basically bred into the entertainment world. He had no choice other than to perform, and that's not to say that he didn't enjoy performing, but he had no childhood. He had no friends to his age. He was probably learning to play guitar or playing instruments till his fingers were bleeding. You know, them stories are probably true. Some of them might be a little bit exaggerated, but you know, let's not take the facts away. Like, he was probably on tour from a very young age. I don't know the exact facts, but you probably do. Someone does. So yeah, was he probably a little bit strange? Was he a man child? Am I a man child? Like, have I grown up properly? Not really. If I hadn't have had the awesome childhood that I had, would I want to relive it? 100% I would. I'd build a fairy park, a fairy land park, whatever it's called, the Neverland, Neverland in my garden. Yeah, man, it's yeah. And anyway, you look at the deeper conspiracy. He come out talking about, you know, the owner of Sony or whatever, the geezer that he signed a contract with, who he calls the devil, and he named and shamed a few people, and the fact that this guy was, you know, not a nice guy, and a lot of people know about this guy, and said things that he probably shouldn't have said, and then boom, you know, he and this was just after, I think, Michael Jackson bought all his royalties, or he bought back all of his royalties or something. So basically, then any money that he'd generate from them, from those tracks, he'd make. And then all this stuff come out in the press, all the negative stuff, and then yeah, he had years of that, didn't he? And that to sort of try to get out in some form of, like, I don't know, innocence. And it's just like he's fighting a losing battle, and then he did literally lose the battle. And did he die? Did he die of his own accord? Was it? And you know, I don't know. It's a conversation, but yeah, the documentary, I think I spoke about it on Amanda's the other night, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Amanda, if you're still in the chat, that was amazing, especially because I was a little bit deflated before going on. I weren't going to go on, but I'm glad I did. But yeah, documentary on YouTube. It's got his son on, and there's a lot of sort of background stuff, a lot of behind the scenes of what people would have never seen before. And again, you can't judge or blame people for making their mind up and having their opinion of Jacko when we are fed the information that he was this, and we've got case studies of people that it's happened to, and there's reports, there's allegations. But now those people that were making the allegations or were the victims have come forward and say that they was actually forced into saying it, and they had people in suits, and their mum was saying that they need to be saying this, and blah blah blah, and they didn't want to, or he didn't want to, or she, you know, but they were being made to do it, or paid nicely to do it, should we say. What's Rich saying? I'm a man child, proud of it. Yeah. MJ did live a very different way of life, but in that documentary, Martin Bashir and MJ were filming, and the things that Bashir was saying were very different to what was that. You know that in your snow hat, Alvin or Lindsay, whoever wrote that message. That's probably the one that I see. Say it, don't spray it. That's probably the one that I see, and the camera's still rolling, right? And they've still got like Jackson's team rolling the camera, his camera. And the thing is, they actually knew that camera was on, or they knew it was there. They may have forgotten it was on, but they knew and they were told. And yeah, how bad that again he didn't. What's his name? Bashir Martin didn't come forward and say, actually, no, I didn't say it. I didn't mean it in that context. Instead, he stayed quiet. Why did he stay quiet? Was he made to stay quiet? Has he sold his soul? I used to look at that, like selling your soul. I used to look at that as if it was like some geezer actually going around buying souls, and like they agree, they sign it, and sucks the soul out of their body or whatever. That's what I used to imagine it to be, and that's when I used to watch these documentaries and going, oh yeah, Beyonce sold her soul, Jay-Z sold his soul, blah blah blah. So I've now become more aware and then more awake to actually, you know, selling your soul is just signing that dotted line in some regards. So people could say in some ways, if I was told to promote something at work that I didn't believe in, for example, But because I'm contracted to work for this company, and it's in my contract that I'll do what they say when they say, and if I don't, then things are going to start happening to me, or my loved ones, for example. You know, you've sold your soul. You're bound to that service. If you do not perform in that service, you're obliterated, you're annihilated, you're humiliated, you have got nothing. And that happens to all these celebrities and that. So now I understand that a bit more. And that's not to say that there's not someone out there that could suck souls. Let's be real, because you just never know. Open-minded, Max. But yeah, I think it's more sign on the dotted line. Lots of people on social media talking about that side of things now. Sarah showed me a video the other day. Some woman that was on Geordie Shore or something, I can't remember her name, but she was, you know, talking about how these people were phoning her up and blah, 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 and telling they're going to do this and do that because she refused a contract or something, or she was under contract. And Sarah was like amazed, going, "No, this is crazy." I'm like, "Sarah, this has been happening for years." You look at Marilyn Monroe, you look at the conspiracies behind that, and it's like, you know, they might come out one day, and I think there's a lot more stuff that has come out. But again, is it real? Is it true? Is it fake news, fake media? We're in a realm where people don't fully understand what's real. I don't fully understand what's real. How scary is that? We don't actually understand what is real and what's fake, because whether it's a conspiracy video that was made out of sheer mad, what was it, just for the crack of it, just to try and be that guy. Like, there could be people that do that, and they're bored, it's a hobby, they're trying to make a scary video, they might make a conspiracy to put the fear in people. That could all be everything. Could start off with for a different reason. It might not have the intentions that it's got at the beginning, but it might end up actually doing those things that, you know. It's we've gone on some tangents. We have literally gone on some tangents. I weren't expecting to speak about it. I was expecting someone to come on. James isn't in it no more. Julie, yes, Julie, you were one of them loons that was sitting in last night watching it. Hope you're good. I hope you're well. Let's get some of these comments up. Yeah, are you feeling better, Julie? Are you feeling a little bit better? Hopefully that video kept you company and on the edge of your seat at times. No, it certainly did me. Every time I watch it, it just takes me back. Resting, so I'm still resting and tired, but have my appetite back. Nice. There's a lot of people run down, a lot of people not feeling great. I said this to Rich the other day. I think we've got to all take a bit more responsibility in our own health. I'm a hypocrite. I'm going to be honest. I promote all this stuff to students, to people, to adults, to you, to my kids. Kids don't listen. Like I say, I speak to thousands of kids that listen, or at least some of them listen. Come home, I've got two that just won't listen to anything I say. It's so frustrating. Yeah, it is exactly. I understand how them teachers feel when we go in and speak to the students and they listen to us, but not them. I get it, because I come home and I speak to them and they don't listen. Yeah, and they're bred into this. That's the thing. You got kids and that. That's the scary thing about it. That is what scares me a little bit. It's the fact that I struggle to find out or to understand what's actually real, what I should listen to, and blah, blah, blah. And I did for years. And it's like, if I find it hard with the knowledge that I've got and the life that I've lived already, how hard is it going to be for kids of their age and younger that may not have the support or whatever, or the guidance? Is so easily manipulated. I heard this, so I was talking to my colleagues today, it's interesting facts. I know we're jumping from one thing to another, but unless someone comes on and sort of channels me into a conversation of one topic, one theme, it's just going to be me rambling, getting stuff off my chest. I feel like if I can start doing this with you guys, then I can just start relaxing a bit more. Because look, we all do things. We do things for a reason. Sometimes they might be the right choice. Sometimes they might not be. But we can all do things to help us live a happier, longer life, no matter what choices we made in the last 3 years. You know, it's not the end. It's not it's not game over. It's not all doom and gloom. But there's things that we can do that are easy, cheap, free, like achievable, you know, good intake of vitamin D, vitamin C, eating as healthy as we can, cutting out as much sugar as we can. Like, we're killing ourselves. Like, literally, I am personally. The amount of sugar I consume, the amount of caffeine I consume, the amount of dairy, like, and the dairy is not good for you after a while. If you look at the background of dairy, I got told this by my colleague years ago, and here I am still guzzling milk. It's like, look at what milk is. It's like a mucus, right? Milk is mucus, and it's generated and produced for the cows, for the mum to sort of feed the calves and stuff. It's calves. But cows have got more than one stomach. I don't know how many stomachs they've got. It's multiple stomachs. I know they've got multiple stomachs, and that's because they need to break down, you know, things like the grass, and it's acidic or whatever it is. It's got the chemical stuff in it, and the milk is like really, really dense stuff and thick sort of liquid. I don't know. But their stomachs are designed for that. They're not designed for us. It's not designed for our stomach. So we get away with drinking a lot of milk and a lot of dairy, but there's a reason why people have to stop drinking it when they get older. And there's a reason why a lot more people are more lactose intolerant, and dairy intake is sort of going down. But yeah, I still do it. I still smoke. I do things and that I shouldn't do. It's like, I do need to take a bit more control. Exercise, training my brain, training my body, and becoming the best person. And I reckon we should try to do it together. Before I lose you all, I think anyone listening to this chat, I think we should start doing it together, even if it's like 5 push-ups a day. I've been trying to starting to get back into some form of a fit state. Nowhere near there, but I'm getting there. And me and my colleague have been going to the gym at least once a week to practice this new bungee stuff that we're doing, as well as lift some weights. And I'm not a weight lifter. But I'm just doing a bit more. So when I find myself getting bored and that, and if I'm at home, I might be on the kitchen worktop or this chair, and I'll do a couple of dips, or I'll do something. But even if it is the bare minimum, if you're a reseller, for example, if you're listing 5 a day, you should be doing 5 push-ups every morning. If you're doing 10 listings a day, if you ain't doing 10 push-ups with your 10 listings, or at least that same day doing at least 10 minutes worth of exercise, it ain't worth it, man, because you're making that money, but you ain't gonna have the money to spend later on in life if you're not fit and well and healthy. And we can build up wicked immune systems. We've all fucking shot our immune systems to bits. We're weak. We are weak beings at the minute. We've been locked up for all that time. We've been like covering our faces and doing all that stuff and protecting ourselves and cleaning with like all that sanitizer, when actually all we're doing is making our immune system weaker and not, and it's anyway, rabbit hole. Here we go. 10k steps. Yep. 200 steps a day now. I do about 10k steps at work, but must be doing about 200 steps. You've gone from 10k to doing 200. You need to do something, Jilly. You don't have to actually walk to do steps. You can do some steps when you're sitting down. We do this wicked activity in the assemblies. It's called this little game I like to play with people, and it's called Stop, Go, Clap, Jump. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this game. You love it. It's a great little party game. If you've got kids, it's a good one for kids, but it's good for adults as well. If you've run sessions or anything like that, this is great. Stop, go, clap, jump. Stop means go means stop, clap means jump means clap. So it's pretty much like back to front, the opposite, if you like. You can add in some variations if you like yes means no, no means yes, but I keep it basic. Stop means go means stop, clap means jump means clap. And you explain the game, and if you've got a pool of people, 10, 20, 30, we've done it with 50, 60, the assemblies is about 200 plus, sometimes 100, but you get them to do it sitting down, and then you just change jump and clap for click and clap. Anyway, call out the commands. You get them to sort of act the commands. The only time they ever stop walking is if you say go. If they was walking around and you said clap and they needed to jump, they'd obviously jump, but then continue their path, continue to walk. And you explain that. And you also explain that after about 10 minutes of playing, every single person in that room is going to be walking around in a circle, like the sheep that we are, because we're a herd mentality as human beings. We follow the herd. It's just in our nature. So if the crowd do it, it feels like a good thing, the confidence and everything else, it makes it easier, and the power of the herd seems to play out all the time. And they end up walking around in a circle, and that's when I start going doing the James. But it's a nice little exercise, and you start off going, right, we're ready, 3, 2, 1, go. And then everyone starts walking. So you start taking a mickey and stuff, and you do this, and what will happen is people will make mistakes, people will go out, it creates humor, brings down social barriers, fills people with a little bit of joy, a little bit of happiness, and it's an icebreaker. It's an energizer, an icebreaker, and it's a great little activity to do with groups of people. But after a while, 5 minutes, 10 minutes of playing that game, you'll see that there'll be, it could be 50%, 60%, 70, 80, whatever. There's a percentage of people that are getting it right, and they're mastering it. And if you've done that every day or for the rest of the day in stages, you probably get to the point where every single person is getting it right, and you've got a well-oiled machine. And it's just a little eye opener, especially for young people that are lacking a little bit of motivation, or people that are lacking motivation. And you explain that in the last 10 minutes or the last day or the last 2 weeks, we've been playing stop, go, clap, jump, and you lot have literally mastered it, right? You're pros. If I was to say go, you ain't going to go, no, you're stopping, right? If I was to, you explain that, and you've done this. So basically what I'm saying is you've reprogrammed your brain slightly, because for all these years, you've been told and conditioned that yes means yes and no means no. Whereas in the last 10 minutes, not all of you, but a large percentage of you have just reprogrammed their brain slightly. So you imagine what you could do over a month, over a year, whatever it is, if you put your mind to it and you start to reprogram your thought process, start to think about different ways of looking at things. Why is it that? Because we've been told it's like that, but why is it like that? So my son, he's definitely, he asks questions, and it frustrates me at times, because some of the questions he asks are like, why are you doubting that? Why are you asking that? And some people will say he's on the spectrum. Some people say I'm on the spectrum. I've not been diagnosed. I might self-medicate from time to time. Sean knows. But yeah, it's like, it's so easy for people to say this, that, the other. You're on a spectrum. You're on this part of the spectrum. You're up here. That's severe. That's not so severe. Now, actually, the spectrum is like round. It's just all over the place. Just because you're autistic or you've got ADHD doesn't mean that you're going to have the same traits as somebody else with ADHD and autism. I've got a colleague that's, some would say, is severely autistic, and then I've met students that are severely autistic, but they're nothing like each other. They can't handle too many conversations at once, whereas they can't handle like the sensory stuff. It's completely different, but they're still classed. We can look at it from all different angles. But yeah, people would say that Mason is for some of the stuff that he's asked. And if that is the case, then I'm glad, and I wish more people were autistic or had traits of that. And I believe we all have traits of ADHD. We all have traits of autism. And I do believe, I'm not saying it's not if people call it a condition, I call it more of a power. I call it more of an unlocking or an ability to do what I need to do in the situations that I need to do. And it's just my being. I don't know anything different. So I don't really know what it's like not to have a mind that works like mine, not to have a brain that doesn't remember things. I remember certain bits that I feel maybe, not even that I feel will be beneficial to me. I remember things that maybe my brain or my being believes are beneficial and I should hold on to. If I wanted to learn something, like I'm resitting my mental health first aider certificate. So I'm resitting that, and there's I do it like the safeguarding stuff every single year or every other year. If you asked me a question off the top of my head, I wouldn't be able to answer it straight away. If I was on the spot, I'd probably go mind fog, brain fog. Give me a couple of minutes, or if in my own comfort or different settings, scenarios, James will know what I'm on about. And again, it's a trait that we have, or it's a behavior that I've adapted through my upbringing or through certain situations. So I'm not going to say it's an illness. I'm not going to say it's something that people should suffer with. If people suffer from it, I think that's just because they're doing it wrong, or they're not understanding it, or they're not getting the support, or they've not got the ability or the opportunity to flourish with their power. Some people might be in a job that doesn't allow for someone with ADHD to be there, i.e. the reason why I was close to jacking my job last year when I was out in Greece, and Rich knew about this, I think I spoke about it on the Saturday Night Live, is because after the lockdown stuff, another reason why I'm so anti-Rona and anti-lockdowns and stuff, and I have been from the very beginning, and that's my opinion, my belief, and me and my family is down to me and their choices. They had choices too, and they stuck with us, and we all made the same choice, and it's like, great. It's man, it's deep. It's deep. So much deep stuff. I can't go too deep. I can't. But yeah, I do want to talk about. But yeah, the reason is, man, it's frustrating. But like everyone, man, we were sitting ducks. I'm gonna say it. Fuck it. I'm gonna say it. we were sitting ducks, right? So we was all sitting ducks. Everyone got told to not do nothing. Right? We weren't allowed to go out, and everyone had the fear. Everyone was uncertain of things. Right? And bearing in mind, like before all lockdown started, I'm not going to say that I had a vision. I see a vision. No, it wasn't like that. I watched a video, watched a documentary that predicted what was about to happen. It was happening in China. It was happening in Figgy. Blah 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 blah. It's coming to the UK. I tried to plant the seed with the people at work. I got told I was being negative, and what are you going on about? Blah blah blah. And then when it started hitting mainstream media and people was actually talking about it over here, oh, now they start listening. So it's a bit frustrating in that sense. And when it started happening and people were sent home, there's people at work and people that I was chatting to, and my friends as well, and family members that were saying, yeah, we've got to do it, it'll blow over, it won't be long. It won't be long. They're saying if we all do this, and it'll be done within like a month, 2 months, whatever, rah, rah, rah. And I said, it's going to be 3 years. It's going to be 3 years. And no one would listen. No one would say, no, where did you get that from? Like literally, it was like I was talking madness. And I can't even prove that it was going to be 3 years. I couldn't prove it was going to be 3 years because I was putting this, my opinion and my belief was stemmed from maybe 1 or 2 video / documentary type uploads, if you like, conspiracy videos. And yeah, when I told people that I work with and the boss, which is family, as you know, yeah, got told I was being a Debbie Downer, I'm an idiot, ain't gonna be 3 years, are you talking rubbish, blah 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 blah. And then boom, shakalaka, 3 years later. So it's one of them ones, man. It's frustrating, and that's why I don't want to hold back anymore. And it's not because I want to be the guy to get the news out there first. I couldn't give a shit. I want to help and share stuff that I come into contact with, or things that I get shown or is pushed through my suggested feed that you may not see. None of you might not have been aware that Russell Brand is smashing it and got 6 million people that are listening to his every word. They're not his disciples. They're not like people that are going to do everything and anything that he says. It's a place to listen and engage in open conversation. Exactly what I want to try to create here. Joe Rogan. You might not know Joe Rogan. You might not like him, but you might like find interest and knowledge with the masses of informative guests and the knowledge and the expertise that he gets on is just phenomenal. It's insane. And I don't watch these people religiously. I don't watch them every single day. I have doses of each and every one of these people, but it's about being open-minded and not falling down the trap of being fear-mongered. Because these 3 years that we was in lockdown for, like I say, when we first got sent home, we're sitting ducks like everybody else. We're getting told we can't do anything. Bearing in mind, we was in 26 different schools currently at the time. I had group work with students that. So this is what was heartbreaking, really, as well. And this is just a minuscule part of it because there's people that lost lives and stuff. But I was working with students on a program that was all centered around trying to divert people away from youth crime, and there were students, year 7s and 8s, and I think there was a couple of year 10s. And these were students that hated school. They were non-academic, but they preferred to be in school compared to being at home because of their home life and the abuse or the what's it called? Domestic violence. Or whatever reason, it was whatever reason, but they were kids like I was at school that didn't really fit into the school world, the academic side of things, but actually would prefer to be there because they didn't want to go home. And now these kids have been sent home to live in that environment. And I still had 6 sessions left with these 10 students or 8 students, whatever it was, me and my colleague, and now we couldn't do anything. So we got told to sit down and do nothing. So yeah, this was frustrating, and we all had to do that. But if you watch Dapper Laughs, go and watch his latest reels, go and watch his latest shorts. And Dapper Laughs is a comedian, I get it. He was one that was definitely on my wavelength all the way through. He had to be careful. He did still say stuff, but he'd done it in a comedic way, in a skit type way on Snapchat and stuff. But he's on, I don't know, just search him up. His latest ones, my brother tells me he's done a little series, and it takes the piss out of everything that's happened, and it talks about some of the stuff that's come to light. But yeah, anyway, like I say, back to my thingy, and I'm going to think about wrapping it up, I think, because it's, you know, unless you want me to carry on, I'll go through the chats properly and then we'll decide whether we carry on. But yeah, we're sitting ducks, and all you lot, lovely lot, and everyone else was told to not work, not do this, not do that. And then when it suited the powers that be, we were then allowed to go back to work. Not you lot, I mean we. So we were only sitting ducks. I worked through all lockdowns, every single one of them. We were working, and it weren't a secret. We're thinking there were schools open. No schools were open according to the media. No schools were people going to schools. Obviously, you had people like students that needed to go into schools. There was some NHS staff, workers, and tutors that were taking kids in school. So there was definitely some schools where a lot of students weren't in. Now, my kids weren't in school. We took them out of school where they got told to go home. And to be fair, even if they didn't, I'd probably took them out through fear. But once I went back to work and realised that all these schools that we're working in still, and was all adhering to the guidelines and the bubbles and all that stuff, which they were told to through fear. We was like, we're outsiders. We're going in, for example. And this is why I think it's all a mockery. It's all a joke, right? And this is fact. This has happened. This is my lived experience. I can own this. I'm not going to give names or departments or anything like that, but they know they are, and everyone else knows who they are because it wasn't a secret. Like, this happened, but to you lot, probably didn't know anything about it. But we'd go into one classroom and we'd deliver these sessions, and then we walk after that hour session or half-hour session down the corridor. They'd make us put masks on, and then we'd go into another classroom and they'd say you can take them off when you're in there. So there's literally letting us go from one room to the other. And this ain't just in schools and colleges. This was other organizations that was working with it. And it's like, so there's no such thing as a bubble then. They're like, no, we've got to stay in our bubbles. It's like, well, we're going into there and we're taking our masks off. You said that's okay. And then when we come out, we put them on because we're walking down the corridor and people can see us. And then we get into the other classroom, we take it off. It's like, when you get stuff like that happen, and then you start to see what the Prime Minister and what all the others were doing, and you know, the other people at the top, it's like, it was a mockery. We was all being led into something. But then I still couldn't do certain things. It was all right when I could work for them and do the bits of work, but then you can't go to the gym. It's like, hang on a minute, I've just been in a school with like 400 people. I've been in a job centre. I went into the job centre to do some recruitment. I was sitting in a job centre and I was interviewing about 50 people, literally across the flipping desk. It's like, this doesn't make sense. Anyway, stop rambling. Let's go through this chat. Let's see what we've got. Who talks logical? So yeah, anyway, that's why I was frustrated with the whole situation. Lockdown really got me, and there's people that definitely had things done that I think they shouldn't have had done, but you've done that for whatever reason. I'm not going to lose love over it. I'm not going to lose friendship over it. People do what they do for the reasons they do it, but please just be mindful and just look at what's coming out in the mainstream news, because they're actually looking at it. I'm saying don't watch it, but now that they're backtracking and looking at all the stuff that people that was wearing the hats were getting slandered for and outed for, it's just like, boom. What's this say? I was made furlough on the 1st of April, April Fool's Day, during the first lockdown, and found out a week later that my brother had cancer, so I didn't really have time to think about the rest of it. I know, man, you've told me your story, and it's sort of mean things like that, man, break my heart, mate, because there'd have been restrictions and stuff that you'd have faced, and things that you wouldn't have been able to put all your full focus, your time and attention on, through fear, through uncertainty, and through the control and manipulation that we all face, man. And it's like, you can't take that shit back, man. You can't get that shit back. You literally can't. And it's criminal. It's literally criminal. We'll look back at this shit later on. This is history in the making. Like, there's going to be movies made on this stuff. It's literally, it's theatrical. It's scary. But you know, I mean, you look at Andrew Tate, like, I talk about breaking away from the system. I don't mean like what he means, but we don't have to be governed by all this stuff. There is freedom of speech. You only got to look at, you know, the amount of people that are awakening and actually fighting back and resisting. These 20-minute communities, these 20-minute neighborhoods, I didn't even know what they were, but this one that popped up that I mentioned briefly earlier, it was in Thetford, and I found out that a 20-minute neighborhood is a neighborhood that is sustainable within 20 minutes. There's nothing that you would need further than a 20-minute walk. So if you're talking hospitals, you're talking doctors, like hospital stuff, and supermarkets, recreation center. What else would come under it this day and age? I mean, a church would have been on there back in the day, but probably not nowadays, because if you want to put a church there, you'd have to put other places for religion there. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that's a wrong thing. I'm not saying it's a right thing, but yeah, the basics of it is, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but it's sustainable. And now there's conspiracy saying, oh, why are they doing that? Is it because there's masses of people being shipped over and put into hotels, and they're filling up like Hilton hotels down in Leighton, not Leighton, where is it? Leicester, somewhere like that. But they're all over the place. Clacton, Jaywick. It happens. It's been happening for years. And these hotels, they get filled up with immigrants and stuff. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's going to be detrimental. It's people, things that have been happening. It's not new, but it's been spoken about a lot more, and it's been a bit more frequent. There's been a bigger spike in it because of Ukraine, Russia, and all that sort of stuff, which again holds many a conspiracies. There is conversations to have around Putin and all that. Like, we'll be talking about Putin the same way we're talking about Michael Jackson. That's all I'm saying. When you find out what people like, in our country, in America, for example, won't say too many names, but when you find out what other countries, other elites have been doing in regards to Putin, right, you might not feel as bad towards him, right? And you may not blame him for some of the stuff. And do you know what? He probably ain't even done half the stuff they've said. Right? I'm just saying he will be the same sort of thing as Michael Jackson. It'll all come out that actually, this was that and that was this, and we were all dumb and we just followed whatever they said and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, here's another little thing. If you got kids, it's something to be mindful of, because I think we do need to have these conversations. So we got an email the other day, talk about like conspiracies and things. Before we wrap up, I said I was going to get through the questions. I do apologize. I feel bad for you guys because you're watching and you're listening, but I hope that you're getting some bits from this. I really do. But if not, oh shit, I've got to read that. Working in a death zone, don't be talking all night. Sorry, Jilly. I'm sorry. I know I kept you up all night. That don't sound, Sarah didn't hear that, did she? You still in the chat, babe? It wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. Yeah, this is true. Plus Ricky Jeeves at the Oscars, all the things he said were true. Right. So I see that 2 days ago. First time I've ever seen that video. Ricky Gervais at the Oscars. Bit scary, bit dark, the way that the little short was put together. But he's very much talking about some of the stuff that I'm talking about as well, or would like to have a discussion on. We probably can't do anything about it, but it's like people are coming forward. Kanye West, right, spoke about many things. You got like Snoop Dogg and that talking about the music industry and stuff that they're bringing out now. That that you got Shaq O'Neal, people in the basketball realm, people in the music industry, people in the movie and in the theaters. Neo, what's his name? Keanu Reeves. He spoke out recently about this fear of AI and how it's going to impact the world as it is already, but even more so on a bigger scale. And the fact that you're not going to need actors soon and actresses, because they can manipulate and generate emotions, conviction within a character, and just elements within the edit that is mind-blowing, that you just couldn't do years ago. Tears running down the face, it seems very basic, but actual genuine looking, it's crazy. It's crazy. And once you've got the image of that person, with the CGI and stuff and with the AI, it's like there will not be room for musicians soon. You've got bands, and you've got AI writing music in the form of Red Hot Chili Peppers or Nevada, things that Michael Jackson's not here no more. You could ask AI to write you a song in the style of Michael Jackson, and you can guarantee it would be so much like Michael Jackson. It is unreal. But yeah, look, we are getting sidetracked. Rich, on StreamYard, just quickly, how the fuck Yeah, sure, Mel Gibson. Sean's Evan. What's that? Oh, there's more. Oh my days, I'm not even at the bottom. I thought I was at the bottom. Lockdowns, so the government will go down. Yeah, that was one of the conspiracies I watched. So they're trying to defund the police and and push the government out, or the government's going to get dethroned. And you know where I first started looking into this, right? When I read the book, you're going to piss yourself. This is my mind. Maybe it was meant to be. I don't know. But if you read, or you don't have to read, but read the back page of David Walliams' Beast of Buckingham Palace, very much paints the picture of the future, right? That's all I will say. Just read the back. I think it's the back, but I read the first chapter with Mason years ago, and it's talking about this prince and taking over and he's ruling. There was a king and blah 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 blah. You know, we've now got a king. Yeah, we've now got a prince that's going to be potentially stepping up to be king after the king's gone. So we're closer to that book becoming real. But the thing that was realistic in it for me, or believable in the Beast of Buckingham Palace, is the fact that the government had been overthrown. So there's no government. The police were defunded, and there was no police in the Beast of Buckingham Palace. Instead, there were drones and robots, or something like that. And I remember reading it, and I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I've seen something like this. Like I've read something like, or I've seen maybe a sci-fi. I don't know. I've seen something. I've heard something. But yeah, it was a bit freaky. And then I thought that could actually happen. You know, when you sit there and think, well, that's maybe this is predicting what's going to happen. This will be looked back at as a conspiracy in about 10 years. Going, look, it was all put in. It was David Walliams' books. I don't know. He's predicted everything. Like the Simpsons, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, that was mad. Anyway, let's get some questions. Lockdown did nothing apart from control us, and now people are getting all sorts of sick bugs and illnesses, and their immune systems are shot to bits. Alvin, mate, on the money, mate, on the money. Lindsay, both. I'm just going to call you Lindsay now. I like saying Alvin and Lindsay just because A comes first, but it doesn't have the same ring to it. Yeah, DDUKs, dumpster divers. It did nothing, and it was people that was saying there was health experts, there was actual educated, qualified people saying it weren't doing anything. Those people were suppressed, defunded in their own rights, and basically cancelled, as was like Dr. Campbell, like I say, and other people out there. There's a fair few other doctors me and Sarah was watching back in the day. And you just lose touch of them, like you sort of stop watching them. You go on with your everyday life, and you sort of get what you feel like is necessary, and that's what I think we should all do. Similar to what I do when I work with different people. I've been lucky to work with loads of different people, some amazing people, and I like to learn, and I take a little bit from each one of those people I work with, and it's made me into the facilitator, into the mentor, if you like, that I am with these people. I suppose I've taken a bit from him, a bit from her, and I think that works. And a bit from my mum, a bit from my dad, a bit, how it works. And I think if we could all do that, with whether that's with information that we receive. It's about being open-minded, but also learning from others and being willing to accept that we're not all the same, but we can actually adapt and learn and benefit from having these conversations. And just don't stress too much. We can't change the world, and we can't, not yet anyway. There's not enough people awake, but we are in a council culture. That's a conversation. I trip over myself all the time. I thought I was going to get called sexist the other day. I went to open up the office because we hired out the green room, and this company come in to hire our studio, which is like just a room. We put green sheets up. It does look cool, man, and you can use like effects and stuff. I've actually got a video on my YouTube, which through lockdown, when I went into the green screen room with the kids and made some fighting scenes and stuff. But yeah, I said something about the water machine. I said, if it empties, and I said, do you want me to empty now? It's quite heavy, or something like that. And as I was saying, I'm like, oh no, I don't know what these are. They're going to say I'm being sexist because I've offered to lift something heavy. We're in that world, man, and we don't got to break away from that world. Like, just have a conversation. We're not going to always agree. I am allowed to say stuff that is going to offend you. It's not personal. I don't take it personal when people say to me, I talk like I got fucking cotton wool in my mouth. Doesn't matter. Say what you want. Like, it's an opinion. Right? It might hurt my feelings a little bit, but it's an opinion, and I'm not going to fall out over it. But yeah, people's immune systems are poggered. Mine, I've not actually been right since all these lockdowns. I've been ill on and off all the time. We've had Rona many a times. I've not struggled with it massively. I've not had any support to battle it, and I never will until I am forced to. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I don't agree with putting something in me that I don't know, unless I, it's going to make me feel good. I'm joking. It's not like that, but it's just my opinion. And if you don't like me for it, don't like me for it. It's, back in the day, like I'm surrounded by two neighbours, and it's like, one side of the fence, this is hypothetical, right? This is not my actual neighbours, but one side of the fence you got anti-vaxxers, for example, and the other side of the fence you've got like people that are so scared of what's going on, like they're just doing anything and everything. And if people that are going against it are open about going against it, or they know they're not complying, they're grassing up or falling out or not talking to you anymore, or not. Oh man, it was horrible, wasn't it? And I get it, I do get it, because it was all through fear. But we're now in a world where we know that it doesn't matter, and we know that actually those that actually end up doing what they said didn't stop themselves from catching it, contracting it, passing it on, didn't limit the risks, could have made it worse. Some people it didn't agree with. My uncle, I believe, is one of them, and I'm sorry if any of my family are watching and don't agree with this, but I genuinely believe it was all to do with that. And again, I don't want to put the fear into you, because if you've had it, and you're fine, you're right. But some people it didn't agree with, and they couldn't do that research and put the freaking research out there in time to do it. And what we'll fucking say is, because I'm getting a little bit pissed off now, because I'm thinking about it, I need to whip it, seal it in, because it's going to get me fucking passionate. But right, how quick did they make that shit, right? How quick did they make the freaking thingy? How quick could they turn around different things that are going to battle off different strains, yet they can't find a fucking cure for cancer? You know what I'm saying? Right. And I've worked around a geezer's house that studied and worked within the pharmaceutical companies and stuff, and was actually in the cancer realm and studied that all his life. And I didn't agree with anything he was saying, and he fucking hated me by the time I left that job. This was about 10 years ago when I was plastering. But I've been watching videos back then how cannabis oils and different things can potentially, I'm not saying it's going to cure it, but there is things, it's been proven. There's people that have flown their kids different places and stuff, and there's research out there, but it doesn't get passed out, it doesn't get passed on, it doesn't get shown in the media, or it doesn't get given to every Joe, Tom, Dick and Harry. Why? Like, why? And if it isn't true, why can't we have a conversation about it? Why can't you make a video on it? And if you do make a video on it, why does it get taken down? Like, why does it go? Why is Andrew Tate been cancelled? Again, we spoke about it earlier, and I said that I agree with some of the stuff he said. And if someone was to clip what I just said, then I agree with some of the stuff Andrew Tate says, and took some of the out the way, there'd be people out there saying I'm flying the flag for Andrew Tate. And do you know what? At the minute, I am, in a sense that no matter what he said, and I know he had major influence, which is why I believe he's been arrested. I don't believe he's done the things that they've said he's done. I'm going to be open. I mean, he might have done them, and if he has, I hope he gets punished for it, and I hope it's proven in a fair way. But as far as I'm aware at the moment, all the allegations against him, the people that have made the allegations, again, very similar to the Jacko situation, only this time it hasn't taken a decade or two to come out that they're false allegations. Most of the people, if not all, from what I believe has been leaked, have come forward to say that they didn't make those allegations. And also footage has been leaked from the CCTV cameras of all of the females in question, or that have made allegations of them leaving the premises, entering the premises, leaving the premises, entering the premises, bags of shopping, big bags of shopping, small bags of shopping, big bags, little bags, big bags, little bags. Yeah. So again, was he arrested because he had too much control? Did he break away from the system, the matrix, so much so that they had to reel him back? Or was he giving out too much information on his little enterprise university type thing? And was too many other people breaking up the system? Was too many other people making money that the government didn't like? And when we look at lockdown and some of the conspiracies that I personally believe in, it's like, I genuinely believe that there is a power that be that would like everyone and everything within our world to be governed by it. So whether that's through choices that we make on a daily basis, not saying enslaved, but we pretty much are slaves to these phones anyway. But just dependent is the word I'm looking for. Dependent on whether that be handouts. You talk about furlough, Rich. You're getting handouts, you're getting 80% or whatever for your furlough, whatever it was. And then there's self-employed workers that was getting checks and getting monthly bits and bobs because of work that they missed and all that stuff. Oh, I live in a 20-minute, all those things in me. Yeah, so yeah, it's all interesting. It's all interesting, but it's like you got to take things as a pinch of salt, and I think you do need to entertain things. You know, we can't put our fingers in all the pies. But how nice is it to just have conversations or just hear about certain different opinions or different topics? That one in Thetford about the 20-minute thing, Julie. So you live in one. I believe we live in one. Not too sure, might not, but the towns next to us definitely would be classed as one. And some people are saying, like I say, that it could be from like the immigration side of things, where they're going to be housing a lot more immigrants within different communities to sort of get them rolling into our sort of way of living. That could be one idea. It could be that we're looking like a government's going to be overturned soon and we are going to go back. This is like way out there. It's something that Russell Brand sort of wants to push for. So go back to like the olden times where communities actually got to decide what happened within a community. You've not got like a mayor or a councillor that's sort of overseeing, like this story in Thetford. If you Google or YouTube Thetford 20-minute neighbourhood, you get this councillor approaching a crowd within a community hall, and there's about 150 strong in this crowd, and they're all people that did not give consent to agree to go into a 20-minute neighbourhood. And this council that's speaking on behalf of them has obviously gave consent on behalf of the people, and they're uprising and they have every right to, and they're Thetfordians and all this stuff, and they're saying, look, we have a right. You took our consent and blah 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 blah. You didn't even tell us what you was using our consent for. Like, we want to know, and they have a right to argue it. I mean, are their arguments correct in a 2023 world? Like, is it politically correct? Is it sort of inclusive when their argument? I don't know. I've not watched the whole video, but yeah, it could be that they're getting them ready so that people within that community are limited to that community and have a say with what happens in that community. Hopefully not limited to that community where you're not allowed beyond that community. But there is a conspiracy. For example, if you are not compliant and you're not up to date with the things that you're supposed to be up to date with, you won't be able to go further than your community. Whereas if you are, then you can go beyond your community. There might be supermarkets that you can go to, for example, if you are compliant. But if you're not compliant, then you might not be able to go there. So these are things that have been spoke about on some of the things I've been watching recent. And the reason I'm planting them at the end is because the stuff I spoke about before is like from 10 years ago, 3 years ago. I feel safe enough to talk about it now. I hope that you lot are confident enough to talk about it. And I don't want to fall out of any of you. And I know that some of us are not going to see eye to eye. We know that. But yeah, there's things that are going to be happening. We're in a transition. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I'd love to be able to just keep bringing this to the table and watch this play out together and have conversations about it, and look back at stuff that we can talk about. JFK or whatever, it could be like Twin Towers stuff. I know it's stuff that's sort of fresh and it's, it can be looked at as depressing. What can we do about it? But if we understand that some of the reasons to why some of these things happened in the past, we might understand going forward, or might be a bit more awake going forward, because there's so much in the world that I want to talk about other than reselling. That's what I'm going to be honest. You lot must get bored of it as well. Be real. Like, I love it and I like making the money out of it, but you can only watch so many reselling videos. You can only talk about it so much. I mean, if you're looking for tips, tricks, hints and stuff, you've got your people that you get that from. You're not going to get that from me. I might find something big and something lucky and something wood and something funny that I might talk about. And if anyone's got any tips, but I'm probably more likely going to be doing stuff like this, adventure stuff, talking about this, that, and putting the world to rights, having coffee chats and rants. I can't commit to a certain day, but I might find a day that fits nice and it just sits real good. It might happen. I might be able to commit to that. But yeah, bit of this, bit of that, a bit of talking, bit of crap. Still do some reselling, definitely doing boot sales. I'm going to a boot sale tomorrow, but I want to bring something different to the mix. Like, again, like, it might even be something like random. It could be conspiracies, could be Andrew Tate stuff. It could be stuff that's happening, actual, like, coming up, like events. It could be like a concert, it could be a movie. I don't care, man. Anything. Let's just talk about anything. I got an email I do want to read. I'm going to tell you what school it's from. I don't know if Sarah's down here, but this is just like an example. So I weren't going to come on this live. I sometimes get doubt, I get worried, or I self-sabotage. Something that I tell people not to do, I often do it. But then I'll get an email from a school or a school that we're working at, or I get a call from a colleague, or I talk to a mate, and something will come up, and I'm like, it gets me mad, or it gets me angry, it gets me passionate, or it creates a conversation. Or I might be down picking the kids up from a club, or from school or something. I'm talking to a parent or a member of staff from another. It just happens. Something happens, and I've got this amazing idea. I'm going to come and share that with you, and I want to talk about it because I'm curious, I'm intrigued, and I want to get other people's opinions on it. And then it comes to me getting home and having the time to do it, or in a slot to do it. Okay, doing it, I'll self-sabotage, and I'll like ruminate and all that sort of good stuff, and I won't do it. And then like today, I'll decide to do it, and the only way that I thought I'm actually going to do it is if I actually put it out and schedule it. And the only issue with doing that, I then start to get anxious, and then start to feel anxiety. I then start to experience a bit of IBS, which I only used to get when I used to present to large numbers, which if you asked me to present to a crowd of 200 5 years ago, I'd have told you just if I can do one. I wouldn't have done it. I couldn't have done it. I didn't have the confidence. I was a class clown. I had all the confidence. I got gifted a gab, apparently, but I couldn't have done that. I just couldn't have done it. But then you look at me now, I can do it. And that's what I mean. Like, if I can grow and flourish with confidence and with my ability to do what I do now, I just want everyone else to realize that they can do similar sort of stuff, or have the ability to do anything they want, really. And I mean, if I ain't even mastered it. I'm learning. I'm struggling. I have down days, up days. I have days where I feel deflated, which is deflated, depressed, or whatever. I'm not really depressed, but I have down days. That's why I call them deflated, because it's not depression by any means. But I still feel these early warning signs. I still get the anxieties and stuff, and the feelings that go with going live, and worry about offending people and all that stuff. So I just try to link that, and I've realized that if I can go from not having the confidence to talking to 200 people in person, I can surely become confident enough to just jump on a live and speak, rather than run back and forwards to the toilet and make a drink and then sort myself out, splash my face because I'm getting hot and flustered and all that shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, why am I getting bellyache? Because I'm going online, man. It's crazy. Some here in Ireland, Max, all men coming in. All men coming in. What the frick? This is, oh man, I don't want to get scary, man. I said to my dad yesterday, I have these little ideas, like these little things pop into my head, visions, whatever. They're not, I'm not crazy. Don't get the people in white coats take me away. Just ideas. Like, I'm a creative person. My mind, I just always things going on. And this conversation came up because I was just watching the video when my dad came round. It was a backpacker, lives in Leicester. I think it was Leicester. And he's walking around this old place that he grew up, and he's seen a couple of videos online. But anyway, this hotel's been taken over with loads of Eastern Europeans or something, blah, blah, blah. But there's no cameras. People are not allowed around there. It's public right away, but people are being stopped and all that good stuff. So that came up. And I said, mucking around to my dad, I was like, imagine if this is all a plan and we get attacked from the inside out. And he's all, what do you mean? It was like, we get attacked from the inside out. Like, we get literally go to war and then we get attacked. I won't say WAR. I've just said it once because you can't really speak about that too much. But yeah, imagine that. He's like, oh, shut up. But that'd be scary because we wouldn't know where they're coming from or whatever. But I don't think WAR is going to ever be like that. I don't think it's ever going to be guns and bombs and things like that. I think we'll get scared into thinking that it will be. But I personally believe, through the stuff that I've watched, and I'm going back to lockdown time, sort of just at the beginning of lockdown, like when I was watching the stuff telling us about what's coming with lockdown. It was on then. Hold on, just make a note. I've got an idea for a topic for next thingy, because that is something that's just reminded me. Yeah, so they reckon, sorry, I just had to make a note of that. They reckon, this thing that I was watching all that time ago, They reckon WAR3 started back then, like, you know, just before, maybe before lockdown, and that was even a thing. WAR, World WAR3 started. Like I say, not nukes, not nothing like that. I mean, you've got the Russia, the Ukraine thing going on, but the WW3, I think, is definitely going to be cyber, tech, data, all that good stuff, right? 100%. And it's been happening. I think it's been going on in the background for ages, but I think it's going to be becoming more and more apparent. And, you know, they'll be talking about different countries doing this, that, the other. And whether it's shown in the light that it's shown in or the true light, they're going to be showing us something. But again, don't just take it at face value. Do a little bit more research. Don't make your mind up straight away, and definitely don't jump when they say jump. Max, Putin is not the bad guy. No, I don't think he is, man. I got furloughed for 6 weeks because I lived with my 85-year-old and help my eBay business. Waste of time that was. Oh shit, yeah, you had a bad run with eBay. I've had a bad run with eBay, mate. It's not for everybody. Mel Gibson. I was going to be called Mel. There you go. There's a little fact for you. I'd love to do a Q&A. If you've got any questions that you'd like to ask me, like, bearing in mind, I've lived quite an exciting life so far. It's not so much these days. I'm pretty boring. But when I say exciting, the reason why I work so well with youth, especially youth that are maybe derailing a little bit, is because that was me back then. And I've got a little bit of lived experience when it comes to non-academic, you know, street life, and there's other things that maybe wasn't suitable or acceptable in many people's eyes. Didn't make me a bad person, just wasn't really, people weren't really aware of certain things. And school's never really been a place to accommodate for anybody else, anyone other than someone that's academic. It's like that old saying, you can't teach a goldfish to climb a freaking tree, so why the fuck are you trying? It's like they haven't changed the education system in decades, hundreds of years. Look at technology, it's grown, flourished. You know, automobiles grown, flourished. You know, we've got planes in the air, we've got freaking spaceships, we've got like freaking flying discs flying through the skies, and they're still teaching students shit. And on that note, that is the note I made. Obviously, there was the WW3 note I made because that's a conversation we could have. But the email I got from the school, Andrew Tate. So the schools are asking parents to educate their children on Andrew Tate, and I did have a chat with them about Andrew Tate. But what I'm more pissed off about is, I know that the education system hasn't changed in all this time. I know that teachers are stretched. I know that they're governed by what they're governed by, and they're told to do what they need to do. And every teacher potentially gets into teaching because they're passionate to teach and they want to do good for young people and give them the best opportunities to make the best choices, both academically and for their well-being, right? That's why most people, if not all, will get into some form of teaching or helping others, right? It's standard, unless for horrible other reasons, which then fucking weirdos get found or taken and killed and whatever. I'm not going to say what they are, but that could be a reason, let's be real. But yeah, I know, man, they're governed by like this, that and the other, and it's just frustrating. The education system's not changed. They're still teaching the same things. They're teaching you about history that's right. It's history, and if someone wants to be a librarian or a historian or an archaeologist or something that requires knowing historic facts, right? A reporter on stuff as such. I don't know. There will be jobs out there that they need to understand and learn history. Some people might find interest in it. So when it gets to that point of them picking an exam or a GCSE or whatever, they can choose it if they want, but should it be forced down their necks? Should it be forced down the necks? Should all the religious education be forced on people? I don't know. Should history? Should any of it? Like, should they not have a pool like Kanye West is talking about, a school where students can learn about mechanics, engineering, financing, budgeting, numbers, life, well-being, meditation, whatever, different avenues. Whereas if you can't sit still for however many hours in a day without like speaking and stuff, you know, you're not suited here. One of the students I was working with last week literally took me back years. He said, I'm not really in the classroom these days. They put me in the cupboard. And I'm like, I didn't think that'd happen this day and age. And he's like, well, it's a big cupboard. I'm like, mate, I used to say the same. It ain't acceptable. I was put in the cupboard. Days. all right, I filled my pockets with the stationery stuff, and I sold it on the playground stuff, but they still put me in the cupboard. It was like, what the hell? They just didn't know what to do with me. So it's like, right, okay, so that's pissed me off and that's frustrating. I'm working in these schools and I get it, right? These students and that, they're being taught the same thing I was, same thing you was. It hasn't changed. The only thing that's changing is the world around us. They just want us to be the same people. And this education system stems from a system that was put in place to get us ready for the working life, which was back then factory work, right? And if it wasn't factory work, it was office work. There wasn't many creative jobs out there or available to the masses. Why is it still a thing? Why is it still not changed? I don't know. Why am I getting an email telling me to educate my kids on Andrew Tate? Not only are they asking me to educate my kids on Andrew Tate, they're telling me they're going to start teaching kids about Andrew Tate and the antics of and the messages he's been promoting in school. I'm like, are you freaking mental, mate? Like, I get it, right? He's an influencer. He's got many people interested in him, but there's reason for that. He's been locked up in Romania for well over a month. He's lost all of his rights. Apparently he's done X, Y, and Z, but nothing's been proven. Every celebrity, every podcaster, every person that I get information from online, whether that be Russell Brand, whether that be Bijan, whether that be Joe Rogan, whether that be Dr. Campbell, whether that be True Geordie, whether that be, who else do I listen to? There's loads of them, man. I'll go through my list in a minute. I listen to loads of people, but everyone's saying the same. Ant Middleton, you know, you got, who else did I see the other day? Rob Moore or Bobby Moore, some podcast, I don't know. It looks like Harry Enfield. But there's, yeah, loads of people saying the same thing as I'm saying. Like, let's prove it. Let's get him out. Let's hear what they got to say. Let's run a case. Let's get the jury involved. Let's just get something happening rather than him and his brother being locked up for all this time with nothing being said. And then apparently, oh, what, he's got the C word. He's got thingy in prison, lung cancer or whatever. It's just weird. It's crazy. But yeah, they're going to take out stuff. And this is not just one school. This is many schools that will probably be doing this. They're going to take out bits of their education, their curriculum, to fill in bits about Andrew Tate. Now, what are they telling them about Andrew Tate? What have they been told to say about Andrew Tate? Have they been given all the information that I've received, all the information that I've gone through? Have they thoroughly gone through certain videos and X, Y, and Z before they start feeding our kids this information? Because typically, that's essentially what they're doing is exactly what they think Andrew's doing, is brainwashing young kids, young beings into believing an agenda or a narrative. So that was interesting. But look, it's getting close. It's been 2 hours. I love you all. Honestly, thanks for being here, man. I don't know how many people are. 11. Jeez, it's my lucky number. One of them, anyway. Follow, get in tune with just other bits, man. And just, I could go on for fucking days. I could go on for days. I've pretty much covered everything on this list anyway. But yeah, this is, yeah. If you've got kids, I hope no kids watch, because I've done it past 9, because I don't want to be that guy that has any kids watching me. I've worked with enough of them anyway. I don't want to be linked with that, and I don't want to be promoting. I don't want to be your next Andrew Tate. I don't want to try to inspire loads of young people. I want to speak to the people that I've already got a community with, already got a relationship with. And then if other people, if you can pass this on, or if you can help other people, like, for example, this is what I'm going to leave you with. It's a bit scary when you think about this, but it's something that's happening. And my colleague told me this today. So we're looking to extend our self-defense sessions, because the bullying ones we've been doing are amazing. They're inspirational. They're overwhelming, actually, and it's scary to see that. I think it's clear to see, and I think it's obvious that there's still bullying in schools. There's bullying in workplaces. There's bullying everywhere you go. There's bullying online, cyber bullying. You got bullying in the workplace, bullying in school. You know, it's bullying can happen anywhere, anytime. But we are looking to go into these self-defense ones a bit more, because the students that we've been working with, we've gave them a little dabble of self-defense, you know, break falls, grip breaks, how to fall safely, tumbling, as well as some techniques and strategies to stay safe, not to kick ass, but to stay safe. And then introduce them into sort of experimenting with some mixed martial arts and stuff, because not only will it boost their confidence, it will help their self-esteem, their mental health and well-being. It's great for discipline, great for teamwork, you know, great for balance, great for life in general. And yeah, it's a good foundation for any being to be part of. And I've not done enough self-defense stuff to be qualified, but I do know a lot of people. And from my works podcast that we run, we've had some amazing guests on there. We've had a Brazilian jiu-jitsu world champion, Zay. Can't remember his second name, Z-E something. But we've done a podcast. If you're really interested, I'll put the link in. I'll share it with you one day. But it's for my work. And again, I keep it separate. But we've had some wicked counsellors, doctors. I even had, what's his name? We had Captain Tom. No, Captain Tom, you know, didn't have him himself, but we had his daughter, Hannah, and we had her on the podcast for about 2 hours. And yeah, this was before all the shenanigans came out about the old thingies. And again, I don't even know if that's true. Might not be true. Might be true. Anyway, these self-defense sessions we believe are going to be really important. We think we should do them more. So we're going to extend it to like an 8-week workshop rather than just a 2-hour self-defense thing. We're going to open up a massive workshop with it. We've got professionals coming in and we're going to be planning it over the next couple of weeks. But anyway, something that come up today, and he watched the podcast. Again, it was Rogan. I'm going to watch this one. I've not seen it yet. Joe Rogan, I believe. I'll find out. We'll share the link. But he had someone on, and they're looking at bullying in schools and why bullying is so much worse. Not just that, why violence is so much worse in schools. Why are more and more students fighting at schools? Why are more and more students ending up in hospital after fights at schools? Why are more students getting knocked out and school premises? Now, it didn't never happen when we was at school. It might have when you was at school, but it wasn't occurring like every other day. And some schools are like prisons. I'm not even joking. There's a few schools that we work in or have worked in, not mainstream schools that maybe couldn't cater for the mainstream for those that are there. Sorry, in mainstream, but yeah, many different schools. But yeah, apparently this is like, it's all facts and it's increased massively. And it was only last week that these students brought it up that there was a fight at their school, and it just so happened that my daughter showed me a video which it was of the fight or clips of the fight at their school. And it was savage. My son said the same. He see it. One of his mates, he'd think he was there, or they was in the playground, but everyone was crowding around it. And it was 2 girls, friends apparently. One of them was calling the other one names, or had done for some time. That person's, from my assumptions, obviously sort of took it, and then exploded. You know, sort of not dealt with it, not sort of reached support or seek support or expressed how it was making her feel. Bottled it up and broke, snapped, boom. Ends up chucking this girl to the floor and pummeling her head in the floor and punching her until she's like pretty much concussed. End up going to hospital, right? These are young kids. And it didn't get broke up until the teachers got there. And this podcast, apparently, I don't know it word for word. This is just a conversation I had with my colleague, a voice note, actually, a conversation in voice clips. It's how we all communicate these days, isn't it? And he said the reason, whether it's a fact, but the main reason he believes why people are fighting more and they're going on more longer and they're more severe and people are getting more injured is because there's a new element in the mix. There is a new element that these young people that they've got that we didn't have necessarily, and that is these bad boys, these beautiful things, right? So you think fight breaks out of school, used to be everyone crowds round and it happens, and then once it's done, right? There's no ongoing thing. But if someone gets knocked down, it used to be finished. So someone would jump on top, they start punching, but someone then pulls them off because, mate, they're done, right? They're done. Or the person has a conscience. They're like, right, I beat them, boom. If they get up, I do them again. But if not, it's done. 9 times out of 10 back in the day, you have a fight. Men, especially, don't judge me on this, but men would have a fight, boys would have a fight, and they make up that day, if not the next day. Whereas from my experience and from what I witnessed, girls would sometimes fight, and this could go on for weeks, months, years. You know, just saying, it's different breeds and stuff. But nowadays they've got phones. So what do people do when a fight breaks out of school? They don't go to stop it. They don't really care what's going on. All they care about is getting a clip. So they're more interested in getting their phones out, getting a clip. Why are they interested in getting a clip? Because that clip is going to get clicks. And what kids are more interested about these days is those dopamine hits that are generated through clicks, through clickbait, through clicks, through views, through likes, through negativity, or through trolling. These are dopamine hits that are toxic in a way, because you're releasing this drug within your body that's telling you that you're doing something good, right? How the fuck is recording? Sorry for my language. I've done pretty well with swearing. I've probably let about 5 out. Count them. Go back and count them. I don't think I've let any more than 5. people are so much more interested in getting views and clicks and that dopamine hit through whatever ways and means. Like, how bad is it? Better get Mel Gibson off there. Yeah, how bad is it that they're not caring about the person's well-being or their head being pummeled against the floor? Like, my daughter said, there's still blood on the playground where this happened. Blood, like, on the playground, stained. The school could have at least cleaned it up. But yeah, and when my colleague said it, it's like, shit, man, that's so true. And it's the same when you're out and about. People see a fight break out, people see a bit of road rage or someone like reaching for a machete out of the car or something. You know, I'm not saying get involved and stop it, but fucking call the police. Don't get your phone out and start recording it. But then I get it. We're in that realm. Like, these kids have been brought up and bred into a world where it's all about clicks, all about views, all about likes, all about this, when actually we're forgetting about our true morals, our values and our opinions that actually matter in reality. Because a lot of what we got as reality right now is bullshit. Like, they're painting this reality. We are living in a reality that is actually forged and made to suit a certain agenda, a certain type of people. It's never designed to benefit people like yourselves, people like me. So yeah, on that note, one love. I love you all, man. If I am going to go, because I'm just getting carried away. What's this? Yes, Sean, Mel Gibson. What's Mel Gibson? Have I missed it? What's Mel Gibson? Yes, Max, but what's this one? Watch Dr. Frankenstein. Yeah, I haven't seen that. I refuse to walk in eggshells. Good, Jilly. I think we should have a chat. You want to come on my live, Jilly? Can we plan it? Because I've got some postcards that I got from London for you ages ago. I was meant to send them to you. There was only freebies, and I don't know where I put them. But anyway, we can talk postcards. We can talk anything. But if you don't mind, if you refuse to walk on eggshells, Julie, I want you on. Zelensky in Ukraine uses green screen. You know that. We need to organise a rave. We all mingle and strengthen our immune system. Mate, let's do it. What sort of music are you into, Julie? I've got no genre. I grew up listening to all sorts. But my personal favourites as a young teen was, obviously, I mean, I had years of American punk, rock. I had garage, drum and bass. You know, I dabbled in a little bit of dance when I started mixing and stuff, along with like garage and hip hop and stuff. Reggae, always been a fan of reggae, always. Bit of jazz, bit of soul, bit of ska, all sorts. But yeah, raving was the drum and bass. That was drum and bass, skanking all night. London ting. It was wicked. We definitely do need to organise a little rave. If you are up for coming down to the reseller meetup down in Little Hampton, I know Rich always mentions it. I think Amanda's going to get on it and start sorting bits out as well. But we could definitely, I'll get some more speakers in the van. We'll have a little rave in the bus or around the bus. And all the media were on it. Yeah, all the media were benefited and paid by pharmaceutical drugs. If you look at the massive tech organisations, your Meta, your Facebook stuff and all that shite, and then your pharmaceutical organisations, and then your mainstream media, Russell Brand has got a great few edits, uploads on all those things, and some great experts on there talking about those things, about how they all benefited from what's happened, how Matt Hancock and his missus or his sister, whoever, and other people like Gates and his missus and other people that you genuinely wouldn't think would have benefited. But it's like, actually, now you know why they had their adverts on every minute and why they were pushing that. And man, it's like, it's all business. It's all business, not to benefit us. Just mad. Had COVID 3 times, wasn't so bad. I had vaccines, but didn't have a flu vaccine. And look at me now. Yeah. So you had the vaccines. Yeah, most of my family did, man. Most of my friends. I ain't got no friends other than you lot anyway these days. I've got friends that I knew if I bump into, I would still chat, and they probably watch this and think, you twat, what you doing with your life? But I keep myself separate. I work, I make money, I graft. I'm a family man. I'm a community man. Just we ain't got as much time as we used to. But yeah, what I'd say, Julie, I feel like you're a G, and what I don't want is for you to continue to doing anything that you don't need to. It's like, if you've had it and you're not that bad, it's like, what do you need? And if you might think that it's actually them that has made it not that bad. See, I've had it once, twice now. The kids have had it twice. Nada, not much at all. But then it affects people different. Some people, like Sarah, she gets a cold, lasts for about a week, 2 weeks. Is she even in there still? and then I get it. It lasts a day, so it could be different, or vice versa. I get a sickness bug that she's had, and it only lasted a day for her, 2 days for me. So everyone's different. Like we said at the beginning, values, opinions, built up DNA, character, traits, we're all different in our own way. Right. On that note, oh my God, I thought it was at the bottom. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm shit at this. Night, Julie, you've gone. Everyone has different opinions, Max, and people shouldn't fall out with you because they have different views to you. We're all adults and should be able to communicate as adults. That's true, man. That's why you two inspired me the other day to jump on here when you and little Steve was rambling about it. I was gutted that I didn't jump on. I really wanted to jump on. I was half asleep, and I can't remember why I didn't, but I can't remember something was going. I was trying to get that edit done, weren't I? Yeah, but you're right. If only we could all have that mindset. Yes, no women and children. Yes, no women and children, like the media tell you. Well done, Max. So good to hear different opinions about what's going on. Government has told us everything that is going to happen, social credit score, etc., but people don't even care what's happening. Well, that's already happening, isn't it? It's been happening in China and other places like that. I think it's been rolled out in Switzerland, maybe. I think there's other places that have been spoke about. Yeah, and it's happening. I mean, again, I'm happy to do anything. I'm happy to have an enjoyable life. I don't want to have a stressful life. I don't want to have to be fighting against everything and telling people this, that, the other. At the same time, I don't want to be forced to do anything I don't want to do. But social scoring, how scary is that? Like, I know I got my nan, like she might tune in. She watches some of the videos, but there's stuff that she says online I know is not right. And it's not like, yeah, for her, someone of her age, get away with it as such, or was conditioned in a way to thinking that is how it should be. But it's like, man, you can't say that. It's 2023. So when it comes to the social scoring credit system type thing, if you've got, there's a Black Mirror episode. There's a lot of stuff that you see on Black Mirror that's going to happen. Right, they are planting seeds left, right, and centre with Black Mirror. But yeah, I mean, the social credit score system thing. It's like if you've got people on your Facebook or on your social media that are saying things that are not right, or maybe racist, homophobic, misogynistic, or whatever, that you might not agree with them, but they're your family, right? And that's fucking you up. That's not good. I think anyone that falls out with Max is a positive. What? I think anyone that falls out with Max, it's a positive. And all I'd ask, if they fall out with me, I might not always agree with everything Max says, but I'm happy to get involved and listen and learn. Yeah, man. And that's what it's about, James. Like, we're all never going to be on the same wavelength. We've had different upbringings. We've got different information going into our brains. Again, just because we share ADHD or a traits of ADHD doesn't mean we're going to be on the same wavelength. I've got loved ones, right, that are not on my wavelength. I've got colleagues that I just can't, I can't believe we're so different. We're so far apart. And I would love to be able to sort of get everyone to see the same things as I see, or the way that I see it. But then I wouldn't, because I don't think that I'm fully right. I'm not saying it's fact. This is my opinion, my feelings, and I'm happy that you lot are allowing me to express it. And I hope that you ain't going to judge me for it. And look, you've been away with me, James, man. Like, I'm sound, like you're sound. I think we had a wicked time. And it's like, we get together, we have a good time. Here we go away. It's fine. It's not going to change the way that we see each other. I hope not, anyway. But for some people, it will. I'm definitely going to lose some subs. I'll be losing subs. Don't worry about that. Also, 5 listings done. Yes, James has been smashing it. Shout out to Times JR. If you want to get into reselling, man, you got to take a leaf out of his book. And like, this is it. This is when you got to start making steps in the right direction. James decided to give up YouTube for however many months or a year, whatever it was. He decided to discipline himself, put down the social media for a bit, concentrate on reselling. Look where he's at. He's smashing it. And he's also not a hoarder, because if I was getting the things that James was getting, I wouldn't be selling them. I'd be putting them in my loft. Internet outages on the way. Well, internet outages on the way. Oh yeah, electric and that. I'd love to be self-sustainable, like so we can just, wouldn't have to rely on anything. It's bloody hard though. They're making it near impossible. Bills are going to be going up even more soon. Another conspiracy is they're trying to wipe out the working class. That doesn't mean kill us off. It means they're just trying to wipe out, you know, you've got poor, you've got working class, and then you've got the rich, or whatever you want to call them, the wealth, the differences in wealth, or the what's the word I'm looking for? You see what I'm saying? But imagine the working class segment being gone. So now you've only got poor and rich. That could happen. And that's what's been said on this Bjorn's channel, this Norwegian's guy. He's saying that bills and houses are going to be hit with so many big bills in regards to keeping their house eco or green. So if your house is not green enough, you're going to be hit with bills, landlords, business owners, private rented, council, whatever. Be hit with these bills to get it sustainable, get it up to a level where it's eco and it's at a certain grade. And it's going to cost thousands to do that, apparently. But again, it could be fear mongering. But I can see that happening. Not necessarily in the next 5-10 years, maybe. I don't know. It could be 20. But the differences of wealths and the working classes, I think, like the working class could end up being even the poor. You look at the rise of the bills and the gases and the fossil fuels and all that stuff, and just cost of living. It won't be far away before we are all dependent on house, because we're in a world of borrowing. They're not teaching the basics of life. No, at schools we do sessions on budgeting, finances, taxes, supermarket manipulation, you know, impulse buying and all that stuff that the supermarkets try to spend on. We see loads of beneficial sessions, and the feedback and the energy that is in the room by the time we leave, most of it positive, but there's a lot of frustration from the students because they're like, why are we not getting taught this at school? Why am I not getting taught that I have to pay all that tax every single month when I get that wage? And these are people that are A-star students and that they're looking to get high earning jobs. It's like, I didn't know I had to pay that much tax. Why are they not learning that? Why are they not learning about budgeting? Why are they not learning about nutrition and food and how to get a good immune system? It's like you teach them about things that are going to have no benefit or interest in their later life. Mind-boggling. It's crazy. I'm going to try to whiz through the bottom of these because I said I was finishing at 11 to Sarah. I didn't want to go no longer than 2 hours. Great, Max. It's been a great conversation. Thank you very much, Sean. It's because they are pitted against each other through the narrative they push. Indeed, indeed. Yes, the iPhone has destroyed the youngsters' generation. Yeah, these have destroyed. We are slaves to them, not just the young uns. My nan, my granddad, we're all on them. We're all on them. But these are powerful things. With these, you can start your own business. You can learn anything you want to learn in the world. Instead, we sit and fall down rabbit holes and we understand and learn shit that we don't even need. Says me. I am a victim of this. I am part of this process. I do know that, but I also use it to my advantage. And if you look back at my very first YouTube video, if it's still active, it's got to be about 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. I'm talking about the dangers of smartphones and why our kids need to get off them, why we as parents need to limit the access and the use of. And I've been battling with my kids and my wife for many, many years. And now I'm battling with myself. So I understand it's not easy. It's not easy, but you can start your own website, start your own brand. You can start your own YouTube videos. You can literally learn and make and create anything using one of those things. Learn any language, learn how to make a bomb. You could learn how to make an airplane. You could learn how to make a freaking pyramid if you want to, but you won't. Great live, just been listening in the background. Cheers, Amanda. I hope I've not made you lose full control again, like I did on your live with the police person's dildo. Bernie Ecclestone. Oh, yeah, I heard him come up the other day. Don't know if you heard him. It said Putin is a good guy. Zelensky used to be a stand-up comedian. Perhaps he should go back to that. Yeah, I've heard it all, man. I've heard too much. I don't know if it's true what I've heard, but you hear a lot of stories. But it's good to get different perspectives. Shout out rural squirrel. I can't ever say that. A rural squirrel. A rural squirrel. Shout out a rural. A rural. A rural. A rural. A rural squirrel. It's just weird when you say it as one. A rural squirrel. A rural squirrel. Kristen, shut up. All right, shout out, Kristen. Hi, Kristen, from Alvin and Lindsay. Sociology. Sociology Max I can't read. What are you doing? Trying to make me like a fool. Sociology Max Priority. Whatever. Marxism theory. I'm going to look at all these, Amanda. I'm going to look into these because I've not heard of these. We conform. Ooh. Make pyramid moving stones with sounds. Let's talk next week. Oh yeah, I've heard that. And have you seen how some of the earth, the monuments, some of the masses of scenery and earth and monumental like mountains and things were created through sound. I see that the other day. We must be on the same sort of suggested feed, James. Moving stones, shit up, man. Like through vibrations, like everything they reckon was created through sound. Some interesting things we could be talking about. 9, the number 9, like the fact that that is the most powerful number in the world. I used to think number 7 or 5 was just because 7's my number from original birth and shit, and then 5 I adapt that one, but 7 is my spiritual number. It is a spiritual number, and I used to think it was a magical number. No, I didn't used to think. I know it's a magical number. I used to think it was one of the most powerful numbers. I now believe, I don't know if it's true, but number 9 is the most powerful number according to Nikola Tesla. If you look at Nikola Tesla's theory on the 369 theory, mate, blow your mind. Blow your mind. I dropped it with the kids the other day and they couldn't believe it. I've done this little test, this experiment about any multiple of 9, I think adds up to 9. So if you like timed, say, we start off low numbers, like 1 times 9, or if it's going to add to 9, 2 times 9, 18. Add the 1 and the 8 together, gets a 9, and so on and so forth. And we went through the basics and up to like high numbers on a calculator, like 2,320 times 9. And you add all the digits up, that the answer from this equation, and it adds to 9. If it doesn't add to 9, it'll add to 18. And then you obviously add the 1 and the 8 in the 18. And it'll always break down to 9. It is fucking mind-boggling. But yeah, using sound. What's this saying? At Lindsay and Alvin Dumpstovers. Hey, hey, hey. How's it going over there? Anyway, the other side of the pond, as they say, Kristen. You good? What time is it? Interesting to know, because I'm planning. If I'm going to be doing stuff like this, I'll probably do it from like 9 to 11. I stay up pretty late most nights anyway. But I don't want to tread on anybody's feet. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit there and look through everybody's channels to find out when you go live. Call me selfish, call me what you want. I respect any of you like to do it. And I will respect, if someone said to me, look, I'm going live, this is when I get big. If I get big and they're like, Max, I normally go live then. If you genuinely say, like, can you just hold off? I'll do it. But I'm not going to put in the time and research. There's too many of you. I can't do it. I'm not that organised. I fucking struggled to get this stuff on the paper and go through it. You know, I'm not organised at all. That's one thing that I am not organised in the slightest. So again, if I do offend anyone, if I've offended anyone in this live or for anything I've done, then please don't judge, don't hold me captive for it. It was just, you know, I don't mean to offend anyone. It's not my agenda, it's not my aim. And if I do, I'm sorry, and I'll acknowledge that, and I'll sort of look into that if that happens. But let me know. We won't know unless you let me know. Have you seen Mazda had a brand new engine coming out this year? Big things. Yeah, there's going to be some big engines coming out. Also, Elon Musk has just released his new, not Neuralink, because that's going into the brain, but this is like for the eye, some technology, man. Black Mirror. They've done this on Black Mirror. Elon Musk has just released it last night, or today, actually. Tesla 369, yeah, great videos on that. I always wonder how the pyramids got there. Was it the Egyptians? Probably not, mate. More likely to be aliens or sound or a civilization. They reckon, if you look on Netflix, there's that the apocalypse something, that it's almost like an Attenborough program, but it's not. It's that guy. He's been on Rogan. I can't remember his name. The archaeologist, scientist, researcher, whatever his name is. He might be another Hancock, you know. But that's great. And that tells you about a lot of civilizations that were here before us that we haven't been told about at schools, that have been buried, literally hidden from us, or unearthed in recent years and now blown all previous research on its head. You know, some of the shit that these guys were building, guys and girls, people, beings were building without the stuff that we've got now is crazy. Whether that's pyramids, other monuments, other what are they called? You know what I mean? Say, Max, not enough time in the day. You know that there's not enough time in the day. I couldn't do it. And like I say, I know a lot of people go live, a lot of people do videos. But yeah, I want to keep this open to everyone, and it's probably going to be random. It's probably going to be, you know, whenever I can, when I can. I'll try to put as much notice up as I can possibly. But I would like to thank you all again. Honestly, I look like shit. I feel like shit. I weren't going to do it, but I have to start here. And I think like the more I do this, like speaking in assemblies and publicly speaking, like you lot think I'm full of confidence. Like you got to fake it till you make it. That's all I will say, because I wasn't always like this, and I'm definitely not fully confident. I am going to do this as much as I can when I can, without losing my job, without getting suppressed or cancelled, and without offending anybody. If possible, I don't think I'm going to be able to tick all those boxes, but hopefully I don't lose my job or my income. If I do, you're going to have to start hitting me up and donating or some way. Keep me alive. But no, thank you very much. It has been amazing. Although I've been talking to myself, I would have much preferred to have someone on. So please, if you're sitting in the audience, you're sitting in the chat, and you'd like to come on and either argue a point or go against anything I've said, or have a conversation, or speak about something you care about, ask me any questions, any tips that you think I might be able to help you with, or any of the work that I do. You might want to find out about one of the experiences that I've had as a young teen, whether that's experiences with the police, whether that's experiences with education, whether that's experiences with work. What jobs have I done? What have I been exposed to? What have I, you know, there could be anything that you might want to ask or might want to talk about that you just will not know at this current time. You only see a smidgen of me on YouTube. We only see a smidgen of you. Let's talk real. Let's be as real as we can without, like I say, offending people or whatever. But I want you to find out a bit more about the real Maximus and Co. And also, it does feel like I've got a massive weight off my shoulders, because even though I've not expressed my true feelings as such, and I could go a lot more passionate, I feel like I now started, I've planted a seed, and I'm going to watch this seed flourish. And I'm going to look back at this video, and hopefully in years to come, this will be the start of us as a community and people at Maximus & Co. forming their own community where we can just come, get away, chat, debate, talk, problem solve, and try to put the world to rights. Boom, shakalaka. That's in my head. Love you all. Good night. It's 21 minutes past 11. I'm going to just go to 23 minutes past, because there'll be 2, 3, 2, 3 on the clock. And if you add 2 with 3, it's 5. And that'll be 5, 5. Another one of my lucky numbers. Like this shit. If you do like it, like it. I didn't mean like this shit as in like the video, but if you do like it, yeah, like it. And if you've got any of those questions or any topics, drop them in the comment section below. Ian J, I didn't even know he was in the mix, mate. Ian J's just popped in with 3 thumbs up. I hope I've called out everybody that's in the chat, but if you're not connected with one another, or if you're watching this that's not live no more, connect with the people in the chat. Lovely community. If it wasn't for this community, I probably wouldn't be doing YouTube anymore. I wouldn't be as committed as I am. And I do feel loved, I feel supported, and I feel like I've got friends within. And even though I've not met all of you yet, this year's the year, 2023. We're getting together, we're raving, we're talking, we're reselling, we're buying, we're getting challenges set. I don't know, it's going to be a good year. I just want this to get even better. So yeah, mwah. We're at 22. Love you all. Stay blessed, stay well, stay stealthy, and Rich, if you want to go on VR tomorrow, I'm up for it, but I am going to bed very soon, because I've got boot sale in the morning, and then we're taking all of the crap, all of the clothes that Sarah's sister, my mum, anyone else has dumped on us to get rid of. We're not going to be listening. There's going to be a lot of cheap bargains tomorrow. All the good stuff I'm keeping up in the loft, but I might even jump on and do a little live at the boot sale. So if you're bored, come and say hello. Or if you're going to the boot sale, link up, we'll have a chat. Good night, good day for those over the other side of the pond, Australia and America. I don't know what the time is, but yeah, let me know. I'll go through these messages, and I'll see you all soon. There's still 12 of you loons in here, man. It's 22 minutes, 23 minutes past. Mwah. Good night. God bless, if that's your thing. Stay blessed, in my mind. Just stay positive, stay well, and expect more from me. Good night, good evening, and good day. Need 2 hands, I can't. Don't take the piss. What are you laughing at, Amanda? I know you're laughing at me. Stop laughing. Mwah.